उधर आईआईटी में है ना वो IIT।
तो आपको मेरा ये वीडियो जरूर बताइएगा, अगर पसंद आया याद रख देंगे यार भाई, लाइक करना बनता है।
Sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening.
How are you, sir?
Fine, all fine. Thank you.
Sir, बस एक मिनट में start कर देते हैं.
Let's give 1 or 2 minutes. Let them.
Yeah.
Hello.
सर कर दें?
हाँ, मेरे ख्याल में अब शुरू कर देते हैं।
ठीक है।
सा-
So I think by the time हम कर रहे हैं तब तक शायद आ जाएंगे और participants. There are about number is increasing, तो मैं कर देती हूँ. So I'll just share my screen and so screen पे visible है ये?
हाँ, ये ठीक आ रहा है।
So I welcome you all on this NEP orientation and sensitization program, which begins today and will go on till 26th of July. I'm sure you're all aware of the dates. So this is a program which is an initiative of University Grants Commission and Ministry of Education, and it is being held in Guru Angad Dev Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center, known as GAD-MMTTC, which was formerly known as GAD-TLC. And the program is also known as Malviya Mission Teacher Training Program. This center is located in Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur Khalsa College, University of Delhi. And we seek blessings of Guru Angad Dev Ji, who's the second of the 10 Sikh Gurus, to begin this program today. The program is an initiative of our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi Ji, to commemorate Bharat Ratan Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya Ji, and that is why the centers are also known as Madan Mohan Malviya Teaching Learning Centers. So once again, I welcome you with a formal bouquet of flowers, and the program is being attended by many of the administrators, teachers, research scholars, and others from all over our country. And this program is put in by the UGC, is a mandatory program for everyone to have done this program once since this program has begun. In this Guru Angad Dev Center, we have a core team of Padam Bhushan Sardar Lochan Singh Ji, who is the chairman of governing body Khalsa College. We also have Professor Ved Prakash Sir, who is the former chairman of University Grants Commission. We have with us Professor Dr. A.K. Bakshi Sir, who's the founder VC PDM University Bahadurgarh. He is the former VC of UPR TOU Allahabad and former Executive Director Tertiary Education Commission Mauritius. He is here with us today to take the first session as well. We also have Professor Jaswinder Singh in the core team, who is the Vice Chancellor, Eternal University, Himachal Pradesh, and he was the former principal of Guru Tegh Bahadur Khalsa College. In the team, we also have Professor Surinder Kaur, who is the officiating principal at the moment of SGTB Khalsa College, University of Delhi. And the program director of this center is Professor Vimal Rar, who's a professor in the Department of Chemistry, SGTB Khalsa College, DU. She's also a member of the expert committee MMT program, UGC. And she's not here with us right now. You all know her very well, and she's traveling right now. and she will be here towards the end of sometime, anytime in between this session, and she will also address you in the beginning of the next session about all the rules and regulations of this program. So I welcome you all once again with this virtual lamp lighting today. So now session 1 will be taken by none other than our own Professor Dr. A.K. Bakshi, who's as I've already told you about him, he's the founder, VC PDM University Bahadurgarh, former Vice Chancellor, UPRTOU Allahabad, former Executive Director, Tertiary Education Commission, Mauritius. And before I hand over to him, I would like to give his brief biodata. Professor Dr. A.K. Bakshi, sir, is a renowned academician and a former Sir Shankar Lal Professor of Chemistry in the University of Delhi. He's the founding Vice Chancellor of PDM University, Bahadurgarh, Haryana. He has also been Executive Director of Tertiary Education Commission, Mauritius, a post for which he was selected through a global selection, and Vice Chancellor of UP Rajarshri Tandon Open University, Allahabad. He has also been Head Department of Chemistry, Director of CPDHE, and Director of Institute of Lifelong Learning, ILL of Delhi University. He has also been a visiting professor of GGS-IP University in Delhi. Sir has been the chairman of the GAD-TLC and member of the Standing Committee of the National Mission on Education through ICT of the Government of India. He was also the chairman of the Content Advisory Committee for Chemistry for Sakshat Portal of the MHRD, Government of India. Sir is a double gold medalist, record breaker, and recipient of several awards and academic honors. And Sir was felicitated 2 times for his outstanding contributions to education by the former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Professor Bakshi, sir, is the author and co-author of nearly 200 research and education articles and 1 patent. He has to his credit 11 books as author or co-author, 51 e-books or books as editor or chairman or convener of the working group, and 63 e-modules as author, co-author for PG chemistry courses and ARPIT programs of the MHRD. Professor Bakshi, sir, is one of the most sought-after speakers in the country, having delivered more than 400 invited talks during the last 4 years on different aspects of education at various national and international platforms. Professor Bakshi has also been a member of National Writing Team for Chemistry for class 11th and 12th books of NCERT. Professor Bakshi was elected as the president of the section of the Chemical Sciences of the Indian Science Congress Association for the year 2011 to 12. He has also been a member of various committees of national and international importance. Professor Bakshi, sir, was also recently felicitated by the Union Minister Srimati Smriti Zubin Irani for his outstanding contributions as chairman, GAD-TLC, in the professional development of teachers of the country. He is also one of the first persons from universities in India to have been selected as a member scientist of 3rd Indian Research Expedition to Antarctica. This expedition built India's permanent base, Dakshin Gangotri, in Antarctica. So before I hand over the mic to Sir, I would like to say that with these kind of credentials that Sir has, he is a big source of inspiration for all of us. Not only his credentials, the way Sir builds up his talks, the way Sir delivers his talks is also a big source of inspiration for all of us. So I myself taken a lot of things from you, Sir, from your talks, from the way you make your PPTs, from the way you deliver your talks. Definitely there is a lot to take back for me and for many of us. So with these words, I would like to hand over to Sir. Welcome here, sir.
Thank you very much, Professor Sarita, for your such an elaborate introduction of mine. I don't think that was needed, but as I always say, when you say so much about the speaker, then, the expectations become very high. And then the disappointments also sometimes are equally low, I would say.
Sir, आपके साथ तो possible नहीं है,
But
इसीलिए.
anyway, thanks a lot. And it's a pleasure to be in this program. And I extend my warm greetings to all the participants from across the country. And then I can also see Professor Anuja. She is also here. Hello, good evening. Yeah. So I think this is the beginning of this program. This is a very important program which UGC expects every teacher in the country to attend this program. That is why UGC has created 116 such centers which are simultaneously conducting these programs. And each center conducts 2 programs in a month. And this whole process will continue for the next 3 years. And the target is that all the higher education teachers, it's not only assistant professors, associate professor, professor, director, principals, all are supposed to attend this program. So even in this group, I can see many professors are there, many associate professors are there, and all the participants, they are from different disciplines. I don't think there is any discipline which remains unrepresented. So that's a very big response to these programs. And I'm very sure that this is going to be a great learning experience for each one of you. Please just don't attend it just for the sake of attending it. Try to learn and then try to, embrace whatsoever is said and adopt in your teaching. That's ultimately the purpose of this program. So wishing you all the best. And now I will come to my talk. And may I request once again all the participants to please keep their videos on. See, this is mandatory. We are supposed to tell all the participants and they are supposed to keep their videos on in all the programs because it is mandatory. And then we keep on taking screenshots in between. And then some people who do not, then they may be denied the certificates. So it is a small request, but I'm very sure you will follow all that. And now, before I start, let me share my screen. So as you can see, this is the title of my talk. It is in the light of NEP 2020, Empowering Teachers for Challenges in Higher Education in India in the 21st Century. So in this talk, I will talk about the various challenges which a teacher is going to face in the 21st century in India. And as it is written, challenges are to be taken as opportunities in disguise. So see this talk from that point of view. This is going to be a motivational talk based on NEP 2020 with the aim to empower you so that you are successful and able to thrive in the 21st century. And believe you me, this can prove to be a game changer for you if you follow whatsoever is said. And this entire talk is based on my conceptualization and experience. And it won't be wrong if I say that it will prepare you for facing the challenges in your profession as well as in your personal life. Let's see how it works. The thinking behind the talk is, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. So this will be like teaching you how to fish in the present world. So this will be in two parts. Part A, which will be the introduction, I will talk about the salient features of NEP 2020 and the traditional roles of teachers. So this will be part A. See, we are talking about NEP 2020. So let's try to understand the spirit behind NEP 2020. Since it is an education policy, why education policy is formulated? Because, education is relevant and of quality only when it is able to serve the needs of the changing society. Otherwise, education loses its, relevance if it is not able to serve the needs. That is why from time to time, society keeps on changing and therefore new policy comes. And the 21st century world, as you all know, is changing very, very fast. And the major contribution comes from technological advancements. And therefore, this NEP 2020 proposes various reforms in education that are suited to 21st century needs. So what are these needs? We will talk about that. But if you look at the NEP 2020 document, it is about 68-page document. This is a visionary document which expresses the aspirations of the nation. And it aims at making India a global knowledge superpower. When I say global knowledge superpower, it means superpower not only in terms of knowledge dissemination, but also in terms of knowledge creation. And knowledge creation is research. So we have to excel in research also. And the second is global study destination. That means our higher educational institutions become so good that learners from all over the world come to this country for their higher studies. That is the meaning of global study destination. And the overall aim of this policy is to create a vibrant knowledge society. See, this is the term which is very often used these days. What is the meaning of this? A vibrant knowledge society is a dynamic community where knowledge is actively created. Knowledge actively created means you do research and come out with new ideas. Then that knowledge is shared and then utilized to drive innovation, economic growth, and social well-being. That is the simplest possible definition of vibrant knowledge society. So you can see how all the things are connected. And NEP 2020 proposes to achieve its various goals by making education more holistic, flexible, and multidisciplinary. These three words are very important: holistic, flexible, and multidisciplinary. And there are 5 pillars on which this policy is based. That is access, quality, equity, affordability, and accountability. In short, I have written at the bottom 3AEQ. 3 A's and 1 E and Q, and here it is HFN. So this summarizes all the main features. And when I say holistic education, it means we need to focus on the overall development of our learners: physical, mental, emotional, and social. It should not be lopsided. And when we say equity, it means education should be imparted with equity, with no discrimination, social justice. As you can see on the right side, that is equity, in contrast to what is on the left, that is equality. So education needs to be imparted with equity. This is an important feature of NEP 2020. See, now the question is why I am focusing on empowerment of teachers. Please remember, the quality of an education system can never exceed the quality of its teachers. So if you want to enhance the quality of an education system, you must raise the competence level of the teachers. The more competent the teacher would be, the better they would be in enhancing the quality of education. And that is what this lecture aims at. And once our teachers are empowered, they in turn will empower their students. That's the thinking. Therefore, let's empower teachers to support student learning. So we are giving these lectures for you indirectly to support student learning through you later on. That's basically the thinking. And you will all agree that our greatest natural resource is the minds of our young children. India is one of the youngest nations of the world. 50% population less than 25 years, 65% less than 35 years. This is in contrast to the world where population is aging. Here we are at a very young age. So it's a big demographic dividend, a big advantage which India enjoys. And then we need to ready these young people for future challenges. And to a great extent, responsibility rests with you, the teachers. So you can see how important is your role. And that's why it is said, students may be 25% of our population, but then they are 100% of our future. Our future depends on them. Therefore, we have to be very, very careful. And one more thing, a child miseducated is a child lost. Therefore, we do not provide any wrong type of education. Miseducation, we do not provide. So what does it mean? That no talent of the country should go waste. We have to ensure that we provide the education as per the needs of the times. That is really the meaning of this. So all this depends on you. And that is why we are delivering these lectures for you. Having said that, now I come to the traditional roles of a teacher in higher education. See, you will all agree that these are the traditional roles: disseminating knowledge, that is teaching, then creating knowledge, that is research and guiding research, and then academic administration and management. And then a teacher is expected to excel in all the roles. So we all do these roles. But what we need to have in order to do well in these roles, I would just like to share based on my experience. See, if you want to be an outstanding teacher or a researcher, you may be in any discipline. You need to have a very sound and deep knowledge in your discipline. You should have clarity of concepts. You should have done a lot of thinking on the subject. And when you teach, your teaching should reflect the amount of thinking which you have done on the subject. And it's not very easy. It's very easy to say. I come across many teachers while in the selection as a vice chancellor. So many people for professor or associate or assistant, they come and sometimes basic things they don't know in their own subject. So there you have to be careful. And then you should have the passion to become an outstanding. That passion itself will drive you to become outstanding. And if you want to be an outstanding researcher, besides what I have said, you need to be an out-of-box thinker. And you cannot become out-of-box thinker overnight. This needs to be nurtured. You should have an analytical mind. Analytical mind means you should be able to break any problem into various parts, then connect analytical analysis you should be able to. And then you should be innovative and creative. And then 4 C's, which are must for a researcher. 4 C's means curiosity, creativity, courage, and commitment. These are very important for a researcher. So these all things you should try to build in yourself and, and then in your students also. And one more thing which is very important for a researcher or a teacher is excellent communication and presentation skills. How well you can convey your ideas. Because the way you speak, that reflects the way you think. So how logical and systematic you are in your approach, that will be manifested in the way you speak. So these communication and presentation skills can do wonders. And please remember, no one will take the pains to listen to your ideas until and unless your communication is effective and impressive. You have to be very, very good. And nobody is a born excellent communicator. No, you can make efforts. Because all the great speakers were bad speakers at first. But then they worked hard. And then they reached to the top. You have to make a first step in that direction. But then you should be aware that these are the things which you need to have in your profession. So this was about the traditional roles and basic inputs. Now I come to part B, where I will talk about what are going to be the challenges, in my opinion, before a higher education faculty member in the 21st century. See, first thing you have to remember is that we are living in an information age, where you can get just any information by a click of a mouse or a button. But this information age is creating many problems for all of us. One is that this is an age of uncertainty with respect to jobs. There is a future of jobs report published by the World Economic Forum, which says that most of our children who are entering the schools, we are not sure in which jobs they will be employed tomorrow. Those jobs may not be even existing at present. So this is a lot of uncertainty. What jobs our students will go? Then this is also an age of mass education. Mass education means every institution is trying to increase the gross enrollment ratio. This is an age where more students over the next 30 years will graduate than since the beginning of the recorded history. So what does it mean? Many students will be coming out of universities and colleges, but traditional jobs are becoming less. Many are the takers, so that will create a tough competition. This is already happening. And then this is an age of artificial intelligence. This is an age where the artificial intelligence will equal the intelligence of the students by the time they finish their formal education. So the question is, if I can have machines with the same intelligence as you, then why do I need you? So this is going to be another challenge. And this is going to be the future. Look at this picture. All these jobs which are repetitive or of predictable nature, which require no critical thinking, no critical analysis, no research base, no specialization, these jobs are going to be in danger, either due to artificial intelligence, automation, or robotics. Even teaching profession may be in threat if it is just a routine type. No, it can be a threat to us also. If we are just, some people just have their notes and for years and years they are using the same notes without modification, without revision, without updation. And the future is going to be, you can see in the picture, humans are working along with robots. This is what is going to happen in future. Then, humans in future may not be required for the so-called left brain functions. You can see left brain functions deal with, numbers, language, analytical thinking. Because anything that can be measured by number can be solved by AI models. So the future has to be going to be more focused on right brain functions. Right brain functions means creativity, critical thinking, imagination, emotional intelligence, expression. And This was the statement from Elon Musk, who is the CEO of Tesla and co-founder OpenAI, who says AI systems will be smarter than the smartest human, probably by next year. So you can see where the world is heading. So in the light of these challenges, the challenge before a teacher is now going to be what to teach, how to teach, so that our children are successful in a future which is so uncertain. So this is a big challenge for you. Second is the sustainable development goal. This is another challenge for us. See, you will all agree that sustainable development in the world is the burning issue in the world at present. Now, the question is, what is sustainable development? Sustainable is something which can be maintained for a long period of time. That means keeping in view the future generations. And development means economic development. Now, why there is a concern for sustainable development? Because these are the issues, these are the concerns. Look at this, population is exploding. Today, world has the population of 8 billion. By 2050, it will become 9.7 billion. So you may see, if population is so large, then there is going to be a pressure on the resources. So there is going to be a fast depletion of resources, including food, minerals, and other natural resources. Then there is also going to be a problem of water scarcity in the years to come. FAO reports say that by 2025, 1.8 billion people will be facing acute water scarcity. Then there is a problem of environmental degradation. And then climate change, rising sea levels, increase in atmospheric temperature. You saw this year, even in summer in Delhi, the temperature reached close to 50. So that is an indicator of climate change. These are the reasons why there is a concern for sustainable development. And that is the reason why United Nations in 2015 gave 17 sustainable development goals, which are to be achieved by 2030. That comes under United Nations Agenda 2030. And 193 countries, including India, signed this agreement. And you can see these are the 17 goals shown on the right side. No poverty, zero hunger, good health, quality education, and so on. These are the 17 goals which we all have to achieve by 2030. Only 6 years are left now. And if you look at these goals, they represent the real world problems which humanity faces. And in order to solve these problems, you require knowledge of several different disciplines. For example, climate change. If you want to solve the problem of climate change, you need knowledge of climatology, political science, economics, green technology, sociology. So from here has emerged the concept of multidisciplinary education. So multidisciplinary education will allow students to gain a deeper understanding of the subject matter through the lens of different disciplines. That is what is going to happen. So now you can very well understand that importance of sustainable development. And in 2015, when this agreement was signed, our Prime Minister said, much of India's development agenda is mirrored in the sustainable development goals. See, most of the government policies are aligned with these goals because India has made a commitment. Even the G20 meeting, which was recently held a few months back, its agenda is also aligned with the United Nations Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development. So you can see how important this becomes. And education has to address this. So that becomes a challenge for all of us. And then one of the goals, Sustainable Development Goal 4, which is quality education, where it is said, ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. See, in this goal, these terms come: inclusive, equitable, quality education, promoting lifelong learning. So, and if you look at this goal and if you look at our NEP 2020, you will find that the various provisions of NEP 2020 are basically based on SDG 4. So our national education policy is also aligned with this Sustainable Development Goal 4. So you can see this is a big challenge for all of us. How to address to these various goals. And only education can do that. The third challenge is 21st century learning needs. See, it is said that in the 21st century, if you want to excel, you need at least two things. One is rigorous academic content. You should be very good in the subject. And then you should have 21st century skill. These two taken together constitute deeper learning. And this is a must for everybody. Now, what are 21st century skills? You know, these are a set of abilities which each one of us should have. And these 21st century skills are these. They come under three categories, as you can see. Learning skills, where we have critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication. Literacy skills, where we have information literacy, media literacy, and technology literacy. And then life skills, where we have flexibility, leadership, initiative, productivity, and social skills. So taken together, these are 12 skills, you can see. These are 12 skills. Skills means you have to practice them if you want to excel in these skills. These are must for everybody in the 21st century. If you have these skills, they will elevate your job performance. And why these skills are so important? Because, you know, machines cannot replicate them. AI cannot replicate them. So all those individuals who will have these skills, they will have an edge over the others. So that's what I mean when I say teachers, students, everybody should have 20. It's not 21st century skills only for students or only for teachers. It is for everybody. And therefore, quality education in the 21st century will focus on this. I think this is the most important slide. You need to focus on knowledge, disciplinary, interdisciplinary, and practical. Then 21st century skills, and then domain specific. You are in botany, botany related skills. You are in chemistry, chemistry, economics, economic skills. Then personality, values, attitude, traits. All the three things are important in the 21st century. And these three things taken together will determine your competence for any profession. That's why, you know, various universities are now offering skill enhancement courses to strengthen second point and value-added courses to strengthen third point. So I think this summarizes the entire education. So the goal of quality education should be to acquire competence. And this slide summarizes what I said. Knowledge, skills, and personality. Competence for any profession. For example, suppose you are an IAS officer. You will need knowledge of a different type, skills of a different type, and personality also. If you are an engineer, you will have different type of knowledge. If you are a professor, your knowledge has to be of different type, skills of a different type, personality suited to that. So all ultimately will determine competence. So these were the three challenges. Now I come to the fourth challenge. And this fourth challenge is, you know, as you can see here, this fourth challenge is need of creative and innovative minds in India. This is also a challenge. See, in India, there is a crisis of innovation and creativity in the Indian education system. Look at the fact that no Indian scientist working in India has been able to get Nobel Prize after 1930. Just look at this. C.V. Raman was the last person who got it. After that, nobody has got it. Then, nobody ever in chemistry has ever got Nobel Prize. Then, these people did get Nobel Prize, but they were non-resident Indians. Then, Amartya Sen, although he is an Indian, but for years he has been staying abroad. Then, Abhijit Banerjee is an American citizen. So you can see there is some problem. And please remember, Nobel Prize is not a lifetime achievement award. In order to excel in research at that level, you need many things. And these are the three minimum things you need. Enormous amount of creativity and open-mindedness. Then willingness to collaborate should be there in you. See, we have been trained to look at every other person as a competitor. We have to look at others as a collaborator. And then perseverance and resilience. These are very important in life. Resilience would mean that if setbacks occur, you bounce back and again work. And perseverance means you keep on working despite anything, you be persistent in your work. And you know, it's mainly because of our research program that sometimes we are not able to get top rankings of Indian universities. Poor quality of our research programs. And now it is said, some of the best science students do not come to research. Look at this. This was something which was reported in Rajya Sabha. And what is this? That between 2017 to 2021, over 76% candidates selected for IAS, etc., were from science stream, covering engineering, sciences, and medicine. Only 23.6 were from humanities. So you can see that somehow people are not coming to research, or we are not training them for research. So why do we lack in quality research? You are also from different fields. Sometimes we lack in quality research, and I personally feel it has something to do with our education system. There is something fundamentally wrong in our education system. And what's wrong? Just watch this video.
For decades, people have been finding hundreds of flaws in the education system. No conceptual understanding, no creativity, children are stressed, and the list goes on. All these are symptoms. But what is the root cause to all this? What is the fundamental flaw in the education system? Let us play a rapid-fire game. You have 1 second to answer every question. Let's start. First question, A4? Okay, no more questions. Did you think apple first? 98% of people are most likely to think so. Because that was what we were told in our kindergarten. Imagine that this was done differently. Say we had asked you for all the words starting with A, ant, ace, April, apt. Different answers would have popped out of everyone's head. Do you see where the problem is? Before children start going to school, every child is unique. Every child thinks different. But the education system makes every child think the same. This is the fundamental flaw in the education system. Why did this start? During the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century, the education system was designed to make children ready to work in factories. The factories did not require people to think, but to only work like robots. So, the education system stripped children of their freedom to think and destroyed their true potential. The same education system continues even today. Only the industries have changed. A study by NASA shows that 98% of children think different before they start going to school. As they go through this education system, at 25 years of age, only 2% think different. and 98% think the same. So how does the education system make every child the same? Let's go back to the apple example. Kindergarten lessons told us that A is for apple. We asked you for words that start with A. Our education system gave us the answers. We asked you a question. Answers make you the same. Questions make you different. Right from kindergarten, the education system keeps giving answers. Instead of asking children how plants make food, the science teacher gives you the definition of photosynthesis. Instead of asking them to describe the sun, the teacher tells them that the sun is a ball of fire at the center of the solar system. Through their years in school, children lose the capability to think on their own. Whether it is their choice of career or their relationship or any situation in life, they become.
So you can see how our children lose the capability to think on their own. So this is a big damage which is happening in our system. That's why, we are not creative. Because this is something which needs to be nurtured from school level, kindergarten. And please remember, there is no doubt about this, that our education system in that way is outdated and does not encourage thinking, innovation, and creativity among students. And please remember, without creativity, there can be no progress. And we would be forever repeating the same pattern. So, this is a food for thought. You all have to think that how we are, in a way producing just rote learners with 95, 98% marks. So therefore, the next challenge is need to enhance quality of higher education imparted in India. That's another challenge now. See, in any education system, three things are important. What do we teach? That is curriculum. How do we teach? That is pedagogy. And then how do we assess our students? Assessment. These three things are very important. And then, of course, teacher is there who is the pivot of the system. But if you look at India's education system, we have 21st century students. 19th century content sometimes we teach. Our methods of teaching, our methods of assessment, our courses, architecture, all old, outdated 20th century. We have not changed much with the time. For example, look at curriculum. Curriculum means what? Curriculum means what do we teach? It's like a total learning experience. Total learning experience is called curriculum. Now, the biggest challenge to curriculum comes from the growth of knowledge. The knowledge in all disciplines is growing very, very fast. So fast that the doubling time of the growth of knowledge has shrunk considerably. Shelf life of knowledge is becoming shorter. There was a time when human knowledge was doubling in 150 years. Now, human knowledge is doubling in almost 73 days and even less. So what does it mean? It only means this, that what you know is merely a drop and what you do not know is an ocean. Any discipline it may be. And therefore, NEP also says that we need to have light syllabi so that students have more time for thinking, but it should be modern. We should revise it. Every year almost we should revise the syllabus or curriculum somehow. Because these days often it is said that curriculum becomes outdated as soon as it is created. So fast is the growth of knowledge. And outdated syllabi will increase the gap between what is learned and what should be learned. That is the reason why we are not good in the forefront in the research. We have been taught old things where the world is and where we are teaching, there is a big gap. One of the reasons why we are not able to become leaders and are still followers in many fields, this is one reason, outdated syllabi. I remember when I visited Germany, I worked with a Nobel laureate in Japan also. There I realized that these syllabi matter so much. And Professor C.N. Rao, who is a Bharat Ratna scientist, he says 90% of the universities in India have outdated curriculum. Therefore, in the modern times, we need to have skill-based and industry-led curriculum. Because the world is shifting towards skill-based economy. Emphasis is going to be more on practical knowledge and hands-on experience. Theoretical knowledge will not do anything. Because knowledge is knowing. Knowledge is knowing means theoretical. Skill is doing, that is practical. And it is said, future belongs to those who learn more and more skills and combine them in creative ways. And teachers also need to be trained. See, teachers sometimes start teaching skill the same way as they teach knowledge. We will have to change. Then pedagogy. Pedagogy means how you teach. Art and science of teaching is pedagogy. Still, many universities and colleges follow the talk and chalk method, which is teacher-centric, mainly monologue, many complex concepts you cannot explain on the board. Then it presumes all students learn in identical fashion. You can't solve many problems in the class due to the paucity of time. Then it is slow and time-consuming. These are the limitations. And then we have very large classroom so that you are not able to pay attention to every individual. And then the focus of this system is more on examination, rote learning, and scoring high. This is our mindset. This is today's reality in every subject. Nobody wants to learn concepts. Everybody wants to score 90+ marks. See, irony of our country is that the focus is on well-filled mind. We keep on filling the minds of young people with more and more knowledge. Now that time has gone. But we need is well-formed mind, which comes out of thinking, innovation, creativity, etc. Because, real education is that which transforms the learner. Just as a seed gets transformed to plant, plant gets transformed to tree, the same thing should happen in our learners. And that's why it is said, learning is not the product of teaching. Learning is the product of the activity of the learners. So all of you, if you want your students to learn better, involve them in various activities, depending upon the discipline in which you are. That is why there is a talk of learner-centric education. And the thinking behind learner-centric education is that students learn best when they are engrossed in the topic, motivated to seek out new knowledge and skills, because they need them to solve the problems at hand. Let them find out on their own what they need. You be just a guide. And all this is possible in this information age, where you can get any information. But let the student find out what they need to solve the problem. Even experiential learning is a learner-centric education. Because you do and then you understand it better. That is the basis. And that is the reason why fostering experiential learning and critical thinking among students is an important objective of NEP 2020. But this experiential learning or learner-centric should be done from school level. By the time students come to higher education, it's already very late. You can't change them much. And learner-centric education is not any particular method of teaching. There are all these methods come under learner-centric. Problem-based learning, project-based learning, case studies, inquiry-based learning, flipped classroom, collaborative learning, TPS, think, pair, share strategy, community outreach, internship, field work. All these come under learner-centric education. You do and you learn. You will never forget that. So this type of culture is required in our education system. So this is a challenge, how to shift from teacher-centric to learner-centric. And once we have a learner-centric education, our learners will also change. They will no longer remain passive listener They will become active, highly independent, and creative thinkers. And this is, look at Harvard, Stanford, and Wharton. In all these leading universities of the world, focus is more on case studies, experiential learning, project-based learning, problem-based learning, collaborative learning, etc. Very little focus on lecture-based learning. We still focus more on lecture-based learning. 14 lectures, 16 lectures a week, 10 lectures a week, like that. Please remember, if we teach today's student as we taught yesterday's, we are going to rob them of tomorrow. Teachers will have to change with the changing time. This is the message for all of you. This was my article in Times of India's Education Times, the creativity crisis in the Indian education system. This is about flipped classroom. And then comes assessment. This is also a very important component. And even NEP 2020 says we need to transform the culture of assessment in India. Because assessment drives learning. The way you will assess, students will start learning in that way. So that can be a good way to enhance the quality of education in the country. See, if you look at our present examination system, it is rote-based, mainly about textbook content, testing facts, definition, procedure given there. Anything which comes outside the textbook, people start protesting. They say it is out of syllabus. Is that the purpose of education? And then our examination system do not assess the skills which industry needs. Therefore, assessment process needs to be made more scientific to encourage multiple skills of the students, such as analytical skills, critical thinking, conceptual clarity, etc. And teachers, you can play a very important role in assessment and evaluation. See, we have about more than 4 crore students in higher education. They appear in various exams. What type of questions you set in, that can be the trend setter. So we need to have those questions in exam which discourage rote learning, which focus on conceptual clarity, which encourage thinking, innovation, creativity, which deal with real life situations, which enhance problem solving and analytical abilities. These are the questions we need. For example, cognitive learning, which is a mental level knowledge you acquire. Now, just look at this. This is the revised Bloom's taxonomy. What does it mean? It means that cognitive learning is a 6-level hierarchy. Any cognitive learning starts from the bottom, remembering, then comes understanding, application, and goes up to creativity. So these are the 6 learning outcomes. Going from lower order thinking skill to higher order thinking skill. And therefore, our assessment should also test all these 6 levels. In our examination, we test remembering, we test understanding, we test little bit application. That will not work. This is the best way. For lower order, you can have MCQ, short question answer, match, fill in the blanks. But for higher order, you need to have projects, internship, all that. The next challenge is 6th challenge, which I think is there for teachers, is to embrace technology and become tech savvy. This is very important. Please remember, it is difficult to imagine education without technology in the 21st century. Because this is a must. And even NEP 2020 says that the relationship between technology and education is bidirectional at all levels. That means technology enhances the quality of education, and enhanced quality of education then further improves the technology. So they feed on each other. And you will all agree, during the last few years, technology has totally changed the way education is imparted. Look at this. This is the best slide. This summarizes everything. How education is imparted now. Teaching learning is done through e-learning, MOOCs, PowerPoint presentations. Experimental work, we have virtual labs. Revision of syllabi you can do through email, discussion forum, video conferencing. For research, you have so many ICT tools. Assessment is done online. National Testing Agency has been created. Professional development online. This program is online. ICT empowered pedagogies. So you see how the things have changed. And all this has been done by the teachers. So you will have to become tech savvy. There is no way out. It's not optional. Please remember that. That's why I say being tech savvy is no longer optional for you. It is essential for providing high quality education, meeting the needs of modern students, and preparing them for a technology driven world. Because teachers' roles will also change. There was a time when teacher was considered to be the only source of knowledge, not now. Now multiple sources of knowledge are available, mainly because of online tools. So role of the teacher is now changing from knowledge givers to facilitators of learning. That is the new role of the teacher. And then one more small thing our students have to be cautioned is that excessive use of technology by the students has impacted their creativity. For every small thing, they use technology. They have stopped thinking. So you cannot expect original ideas coming out of them. So this is another problem. And then artificial intelligence is now coming, which is going to redefine education in the world. So you can see where the world is heading. Artificial intelligence is already revolutionizing the way we teach, learn, and research. So there is no way out. You will all have to pick up all these. These are, please remember, this is a very important talk for you because it summarizes the entire education system covering all the challenges. And please remember, technology will never replace great teachers, but technology in the hands of great teachers is highly transformational. You have to become a great teacher, very good in the subject, and then tech savvy. That combination can do wonders in the world. Sometimes I feel bad that teachers are becoming tech savvy, but they are losing touch with their own subject. That's wrong. This was my report in Times of India. Technology won't replace teachers. And now in the light of this, the new roles of the teachers are now coming. What I have said, all this has changed the roles of the teachers. Roles of the teachers are going to change significantly now. Now you will have to become tech savvy, ICT skills, 21st century skill, artificial intelligence skills. If students are enrolled in e-learning or MOOCs, and if they have some queries, who will answer? You. So you must learn how to manage virtual classroom, discussion forum. Then you also need to engage students by learner-centric pedagogies. All this is new development. So teacher will now become more or less like a coach or a mentor or a guide. Then you should be proficient in the development of e-content and MOOCs. See, nearly 4,000 MOOCs are there on the SWIME platform. Who has developed them? Teachers only. Why can't you develop in your own discipline? But for developing MOOCs or e-content, you need to be very good in the subject mastery and then excellent writing skills. Then you can achieve that. So, these are new roles for which you will have to be prepared. Nobody was talking of these roles 5 years, 10 years back. And then ultimately, now a time has come when a change of mindset is required. Don't think that what I know is enough. No, I must learn more. There is a quote, birds born in a cage think flying is an illness. You will have to come out of that. So these are all the challenges. And now I come to the last part. And that is I would like to give you some personality development tips for enhancing your competence. I think these are very important because generally, these things are untouched in lectures. But I include them because I realize that these things are very important. Because competence in any profession depends on these three things. For example, you are in the teaching profession. If you want to become a competent teacher, researcher, you need knowledge, skills, and personality also. Even if one of them is weak, it will affect your competence. And therefore, personality means a set of traits and behaviors that characterize an individual. Personality doesn't mean your looks. And why personality is important? Look at this. 87% of all people fail not because of capability, but because of personality. So that shows the importance of personality. And the worst part is many people don't know that their personality, their state, their values, their thinking, that is coming in their way of their job performance. Or you are in the university or a college, sometimes you don't get along with people. Must be something to do with your personality, mindset. And nobody will tell you and you will never realize that. Because, personality is something which influences almost every aspect of human life. Therefore, I'm going to give you some personality development tips in the form of life lessons to enhance your competence. One thing, please remember, life can only be understood backwards, but then it has to be lived forwards. Therefore, whatsoever I learned, I am sharing it with you. And we'll start with this. Here, a grandmother telling this little girl that life looks like an eternity, but actually it is just a short trip. Don't think life will be there for all times to come. You don't know when it may be over. So this is something you have to remember about life. And then we all should learn the art of living. This is missing in our system. See, most of us are only existing. Living has become rare. Please remember, you only live once, but if you do it right, I think one is more than enough. And when I say art of living, it means capability to draw pleasure from life and to succeed in the greatest test called life. Life itself is a great test. You don't know which exam is coming which day, but you have to be successful in that. This was Indian Express report not long ago, just a few months back. India ranks 126 out of 143 nations in World Happiness Index. People are not happy. Always thinking, stressed, hypertension, sometimes angry, they don't know, worried too much. It's all because of their personality. They have not been trained. And please remember, you will never find a happy life. You will have to make it. There is no perfect life, but we can fill it with perfect moments. ये एक बड़ा अच्छा हिंदी का कोट है. दुनिया जिसे कहते हैं जादू का खिलौना है, मिल जाए तो मिट्टी, ना मिले तो सोना, खो जाए तो सोना. और एक चीज और याद रखिए जिंदगी के बारे में, लाइफ इज नेवर फेयर. जिंदगी बहुत कुछ देकर भी किसी ना किसी चीज के लिए फकीर बनाए रखती है. दिस इज द रियलिटी ऑफ लाइफ. सब कुछ मिल जाएगा, फिर दिल करेगा वो ये भी हो जाता तो बड़ा अच्छा था. So these are the realities. Anyway, with all that, the first point which I would advise to you is be proactive in life. Everybody follows an approach to life. Follow proactive approach in life. If you are proactive, you will focus on preparing. You will take action well in advance. If you are reactive, you will end up focusing on repairing. So be proactive in life. And the second is Proactive people, don't wait for the ship to come in. They swim out to it. That is the meaning of proactive. You take action well in advance, in anticipation that this may happen. And then second is you should all come out of your comfort zone. Many of our young colleagues, very soon they start living in a comfort zone. Oh, I am getting good salary. My husband or wife getting good salary. Children are well set. Why should I work? This is common. Please remember, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. It's only after you have stepped out of your comfort zone that you begin to change, grow, and transform. So come out of your comfort zone and go to the top in your profession. And then work hard sensibly. I know most of you must be very hardworking, but sensible part is missing. When I say sensibly, it means direction is more important than speed. Choose your direction very carefully. You are spending your life's time on that. Of course, you are free to choose any direction, but then you will not be free from the consequences of your choice. So choose your direction very carefully. And then once you have chosen direction carefully, then please remember, life is a process. No one rises suddenly in the world, not even the sun. Be persistent, have a never give up attitude, move in the right direction, then there will be no problem. Sometimes I feel people spend more time planning their vacation rather than planning their career. And then self-belief is very important, because it is the most important accessory for you. Look at this quote: a bird sitting on a tree is never afraid of the branch breaking, because her trust is not in the branch, but in her own wings. So believe in yourself. This can do wonders for you. And one who believes in himself has no need to convince others. See, these are small things, but they can change your total life. Then self-discipline is another thing. Self-discipline means mastery over your thoughts. We are always thinking something. If you can control what you think, you can always control what you do. But here you need to work hard. You have to control your mindset. See, we have a brain, which is an organ. Inside the brain, there is mind, what we say as a software. You can control that. Because, there is nothing in this world that can trouble you more than your own thoughts. And cages are not made of iron, they are made of thoughts. An average person thinks about 70,000 thoughts a day. Therefore, the lesson is, learn self-control, you will be able to master anything. This will change your life. And this will also make you mentally tough. This is some quality which you need sometimes in the face of adversity. Self-control will help you here also. And please always strive for excellence. Whatsoever line you are good at, go to the top. A penguin can never be a giraffe, so try to be the best penguin you can be. Excellence should be the key word, nothing less than that. And then be positive and honest. This is a very normal thing, but this is very important. Always positive thinking. Look, he's getting 11 marks out of 10. So that's the height of positivity. Positive thinkers, as you all know, have a solution for every problem, and negative thinkers have a problem for every solution. Be a positive thinker. You will find solution to every problem. Then many of our young people don't, they have a fear of failure. They don't do anything lest they should fail. Overcome that fear. Because इसको देखिए, जब तक तुम डरते रहोगे, तुम्हारी जिंदगी के फैसले कोई और लेता रहे. Overcome fear of failure. These failures can be the pillars of success, depending on how you take them. Fail is first attempt in learning. Take it in that way. It is the stepping stone. And your attitude towards failure determines your altitude after failure. Again, mindset comes, attitude. And then stop worrying and start living. In the World Happiness Index, this is a very common problem. People are always worried. A very perennial problem amongst youngsters these days. Because, worry is a misuse of your imagination. You suffer more in imagination than in reality. One day you will look back and realize that you worried too much about things that don't really matter. But by that time, things would have gone, time would have gone. You can't undo that. Best thing under the circumstances is this slide. You worry only about things which are in your control. What is in your control? Your attitude, your effort, your focus. Why to worry about what others will think, what will happen in future, what will be the actions of others? All those, they are beyond your control. Have a clear-cut boundary. Yes, I am not to think beyond that. Then take risks in life also. This is my advice to youngsters. Be prepared to lose if you want to win in life. Because sometimes you need to lose small battles in order to win the war. So take risks, be courageous. And then, this point is very important. Create a sense of urgency in your life. When I say a sense of urgency, look at the left. If you give yourself 30 days to clean your home, it will take you 30 days. But if you give yourself 3 hours, it will take you 3 hours. So work expands according to the time available. So the same thing applies to your goals, ambitions, and potential. You can create a new life for yourself by creating more urgency in your current life. Be a man in a hurry. You want to accomplish a lot. Set targets, adhere to that. And then anger is also there. Everybody gets angry, but control anger. And whenever you get angry, think of this slide. The fire of anger burns you first. So you are burning yourself. If you are ready, then get angry. And one more thing, never say mean words out of anger. Your anger will pass, but your mean words can scare a person for life. Use kind words or be silent. Remaining silent when you are angry means you are a man or a person of strength, because it requires a lot of strength to be silent at that time. And one thing you should always remember and think, whenever you are angry, please remember psychology says that beneath anger, there is always some fear. ये एक टिप अच्छी है आपके लिए, किसी पर ज्यादा नाराज होने से बेहतर है कि अपने जीवन में उसकी अहमियत को ही कम कर. So ladies and gentlemen, time management, everybody says, I also say time management is life management. Suppose you are 35 years today, all those who have been 35 years of age, all had the same number of hours or minutes. It's how you use them. So, secret to success is how you manage your time. Every day is once in a lifetime. ये अमिताभ का कोट है ना, कल खो दिया आज के लिए, आज खो दिया कल के लिए. कभी जी ना सके हम आज, आज के लिए बीत रही है जिंदगी कल, आज और कल, ऐसे ही टाइम बीत जाएगा. So the message is invest your time, don't spend it. देखिए, आपको लगता होगा कि ये सारे मैं क्यों पॉइंट्स कह रहा हूं, इनमें बहुत सारा सीक्रेट छिपा है. ये आपकी लाइफ को बदल सकते हैं. ये एक बड़ा अच्छा कोट है, बंदी है हाथ पर सबके घड़ियां मगर पकड़ में किसी के एक लम्हा भी नहीं. And then time spares no one. This is a song from Hollywood, but Bollywood, but this is good. समय की धारा में
धारा में मरी है जानी, जो घड़ी सीने में, जो घड़ी सीने में, वही रह जानी है।
देखिए ये जितने भी ये एक्टर्स हैं, कितना फैन फॉलोइंग था इनका, जस्ट सी टाइम ने कैसे बदल दिया है। सो तभी कहते हैं ना कि समय से डर के रहना चाहिए। Therefore, you should learn to live in the moment. This is the best thing you can do. Don't think very far off. The present moment is the only moment available to us, and it is the door to all moments. Life becomes more meaningful when you realize the simple fact you will never get the same moment twice. Just keep this thing in mind. ये एक बड़ा अच्छा है। मैं कल को तलाशता रहा दिन भर, और शाम होते होते मेरा आज भी चला गया। And then have a high opinion of yourself. See, having a low opinion is not modesty, it is self-destruction. Think high of yourself. It is a necessary precondition for happiness and success. Yes, because you may not be perfect in many things, but many things cannot be perfect without you also. So stay special in your own little ways. No one can match. Please remember that. You are unique. You have to remember that. And you have to respect your uniqueness. Yes. And then no to arrogance. Never become arrogant in life. Even a small success sometimes goes into a person's head. No, never do that, please. और इसके लिए तो मैं हमेशा यही कहता हूं कि arrogance is the surest path to failure. और ये हिंदी का कोट याद रखिए अपने सर। कभी किसी चीज का घमंड आ जाए तो शमशान का एक चक्कर लगा आना, तुमसे बेहतरीन लोग वहां राख बने पड़े। बस इसको याद रखोगे, फिर आप कभी भी घमंडी नहीं बनो। एंड द पर्सन हु इज एरोगेंट, यू नो, उसकी जो वर्च्यूज होती है ना, वो भी फिर वाइसेस बन जाती हैं इफ ए पर्सन इज एरोगेंट। रिमेंबर यू आर डस्ट, and to dust you shall go. So keep this reality of life always in mind. ये कहते हैं ना कि समय और भाग्य पर कभी अहंकार मत करो, क्योंकि ये दोनों परिवर्तनशील हैं। किसी भी टाइम कुछ हो जाए, पता ही नहीं चलता, आदमी कभी सोच ही नहीं सकता, ऐसा हो जाता है लाइफ में। So ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, you will agree your biggest competition is with you. You have to win over yourself. You have to become the master of your mind, not the puppet of your mind. Be your own king. And you are your king if you know how to rule yourself. You have to learn how to rule yourself. Self-control, best tarika. You don't have the problem, you are the problem. Mindset, attitude is the problem. वो कहते हैं ना कि स्वर्ग भी तू है, नरक भी तू है, इन दोनों का फर्क भी। जिंदगी छोटी नहीं होती, लोग जीना ही देरी से शुरू करते हैं। जब तक रास्ते समझ में आते हैं, तब तक लौटने का वक्त हो। And then it's never too late to be what you might have been. Still, आप अपनी लाइफ को अभी भी बदलें तो बहुत साल हैं, अभी बहुत अच्छी लाइफ बन सकती है। So challenges keep us fresh. You know, there is a famous quote, a ship is safe in harbor, but that's not what ships are built for. Similarly, humans are not designed to be happy in status quo. So please continue to remain dissatisfied so that you can get better and better, because challenges are what keep us fresh. You can have this principle in your work and in your life. Don't take every challenge as a problem, take every problem as a challenge. And these challenges are the doorways to excellence. They are opportunities in disguise. एक बहुत famous Chinese proverb है कि when the winds of change blow, some people build walls while others build windmills. It's up to you how you make use of the opportunities. And these are the habits of the most successful people in the world in diverse fields. Strategic planning and deliverance, laser-sharp focus, determination, risk-taking ability, courage, hard work and consistency, never give up attitude, health and fitness. Health का भी ध्यान रखिए. एक स्टेज पे सब कुछ होता है, पर आदमी के पास हेल्थ ना होने से फिर आदमी पछताता है. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am coming to the last two slides. Things end, people leave, time passes, memories fade, feelings change, and you know what? Life goes. One day you will be just a memory for some people. Do your best to be a good one. And this is the last slide. जिंदगी के रंगमंच पर अपना किरदार इतनी शिद्दत से निभाएं कि पर्दा गिरने के बाद भी तालियां बजती रहें, क्योंकि जिंदगी नहीं मिलेगी दोबारा. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you and sharing some of my thoughts. And I have given you all the challenges in higher education, including a challenge which is often not told, and that is your art of living and personality development tips, which I think can totally change your life. So all the best to you, and see you sometimes later on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for
Thank you.
this lovely talk that you have given, where you have told us all about how we should move ahead in not only in our professional career, but also in our life, by telling us how to deal with so many difficult situations and so many situations that we come across. So I think these tips are very helpful. But before we go on to a formal vote of thanks, I think we can take some more questions if there are any in the chat. So the house is now open for question answers. So if you have any questions, Dr. Anuja, are there any questions in the chat?
Any question?
Yeah, good evening,
any
everyone.
comment?
Good
Any?
evening, sir. Good evening, everyone,
Hello.
please.
Hello.
Thank you so much, sir. Yeah,
You are in time.
thank you. Yeah, I'm just in time. Just here.
I just finished 1 minute back.
Anyone has any questions, you can
No question.
ask.
It means, Sarita, either nothing is clear or everything is clear.
Sir, in this case, everything is clear. We already know that.
There are comments for your thanks.
Pardon?
All notes for your inspiring lecture.
No.
All
That's-
comments for thank you.
That's always there. So that's how sir is our opening batsman.
So he sets the pace for a good program.
Yeah.
But I told her that opener has to be changed sometimes.
No, sir, we have both the openers letters today scheduled. So, but you are definitely our first preference and mentor. So please, yeah, thank you.
One hand raise is there.
Yeah, Rachna.
Please.
Rachna.
नमस्कार सर.
Namaskar.
मैं रचना कसाना डीवी सेंटिनरी कॉलेज से. सर आपने कहा था टीचर शुड बी अ गुड रिसर्चर. तो अगर कोई अच्छा रिसर्चर नहीं है, इट डजंट मीन कि वो एक अच्छा टीचर नहीं हो सकता, क्योंकि हर किसी का अपना एक टेस्ट होता है. So, मतलब आप
मैंने ये नहीं कहा कि भाई जो अच्छा रिसर्चर नहीं है वो अच्छा टीचर नहीं हो सकता, ये तो नहीं है. मेरा कहने का मतलब है
बट
कि
आजकल जिस तरीके का सिनेरियो सर बन रहा है, वो यही मतलब हर किसी को रिसर्च में डालने की कोशिश की जा रही है. बट मुझे लगता है कि रिसर्च हर किसी की कप ऑफ टी नहीं है. एक बहुत अच्छा टीचर भी हो सकता है अगर वो रिसर्च फील्ड में नहीं जाना चाहता. बट जिस तरीके से यूजीसी अपनी गाइडलाइंस लेकर जा रही है, 4 ईयर डिग्री कोर्स हो चुका है, ऑनर्स हो चुका है, रिसर्च हो चुका है. बट मुझे ऐसे लगता है कि रिसर्च को इतना ज्यादा भी नहीं, बस वो लोग रिसर्च की तरफ जाए जो वाकई में इंटरेस्टेड है इसकी तरफ.
नहीं, आपने बहुत अच्छा पॉइंट पूछा और रेज किया, लेकिन आपको एक चीज का ध्यान रखना है कि जैसे टेक्नोलॉजी एडवांस कर रही है, रोबोट टीचर्स अब आने शुरू हो गए हैं, और आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस किस तरीके से ग्रो कर रहा है, तो आने वाले टाइम में इट मे बी ए थ्रेट टू द टीचिंग प्रोफेशन इन दैट सेंस. क्योंकि हम जो चीज आप पढ़ाते हैं क्लास में, ऐसी कोई चीज नहीं है जो आप पढ़ाते हैं जो कि ऑनलाइन सोर्सेज से अवेलेबल नहीं हो सकती। यूट्यूब में चले जाओ, जो भी चीज आप पढ़ाते हैं सारी मिल जाए। चैट जीपीटी में चले जाओ, आप कहीं भी चले जाइए, किसी भी सर्च इंजन में सर्च कर लीजिए, सब कुछ मटेरियल मिल जाता है। तो मेरा कहने का मतलब ये है कि आने वाली जनरेशन में जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं उनको इन सब सोर्सेज का पता है। तो इसलिए टीचर कोई ऐसी नई चीज नहीं बताएगा। किसी टाइम में टीचर के बिना लर्न करना ही मुश्किल हो जाता है, लेकिन अब वो हालात नहीं है। तो इसलिए मैं ये कह रहा हूं कि कई बार अब ये भी एक कहा जाता है कि इट कुड बी ए थ्रेट टू द टीचिंग प्रोफेशन। और अगर थ्रेट टू द टीचिंग प्रोफेशन होगा तो टेक्नोलॉजी कैन नेवर बी ए थ्रेट टू रिसर्च, because for research to begin with you need an idea, creativity that machines cannot provide. Therefore, in the years to come, more focus will be on research. और ये बिल्कुल मैं आपको सही बता रहा हूं कि अगले 5-10 साल में ही पिक्चर बदल जाए। अब आप देखो, स्टूडेंट्स ने लाइब्रेरीज में जाना बंद कर दिया, टीचरों ने भी लाइब्रेरीज में जाना बंद कर दिया। छोटी छोटी चीज के लिए एकदम ऑनलाइन सब कुछ मिल जाता है, वो अपने आप सब कुछ पढ़ सकते हैं आराम से, कोई दिक्कत ही नहीं है। कोई भी ऐसी चीज नहीं है जो कि मैं 5 मिनट में सारी सर्च ना करके आपको बता दूं। तो ये एक प्रॉब्लम है रिसर्च में। देखो, टेक्नोलॉजी हेल्प कर रही है, आपने को प्रॉब्लम नहीं दे पाएगी, लेकिन आपका लिटरेचर सर्वे करना है, टेक्नोलॉजी आपको सारी लिटरेचर सर्वे करके बता देगी। पर पढ़ना आपको है, आइडिया तो आपका आना चाहिए, वो मशीन नहीं कर पाए। इसलिए रिसर्च की इंपॉर्टेंस आने वाले ईयर्स में बढ़ेगी। दैट इज व्हाट आई वांट टू से।
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Rachna, for your question. And
नहीं, बट
thank you
अच्छा
so
क्वेश्चन था, बहुत अच्छा,
बहुत
relevant।
अच्छा क्वेश्चन है, yeah. And I will also, sir, add here that in
May I
any
ask something?
NEP talks about the teaching intensive universities as well as research intensive universities. So definitely, I think as we go ahead, it fully recognizes that not every teacher can be doing research, but at the same time, we have to be preparing ourselves where at least for the students, we can do the guidance when the 4th year is coming. So we'll be talking more about all these issues. Thank you, Rachna, for raising. And yeah, one last question from Sandeep, sir, your
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
yes, please.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, madam. Ma'am, actually, and sir, sorry, sir, actually, as a part of university, here I am a nodal officer in UP University of Medical Science FI. एक्चुअली सर एक इशू क्या आता है टीचर के साथ, मैं 12 साल से गवर्नमेंट में हूँ टीचिंग में, और अपने एरिया में अच्छी मेरी कमांड है, मास्टर हूँ, साइकेट्रिक नर्सिंग है सर मेरा फील्ड, और उसमें अच्छी कमांड है। लेकिन अभी मेरे को वर्कलोड इतना है, मैं एनईपी का कोऑर्डिनेटर हूँ सर, मैं जम्मू कश्मीर जो PM SSS है उसका कोऑर्डिनेटर हूँ सर, मैं डिजी शक्ति का कोऑर्डिनेटर हूँ यूपी में जो है, मैं अपना नैक में कोऑर्डिनेटर हूँ सर, जो नैक चलता है यूनिवर्सिटी में। तो मेरे पास टीचिंग का टाइम नहीं है सर एक्चुअली। मैं पूरे जो मैं पहले 2 साल 3 साल पहले से मैं इतनी अच्छी टीचिंग कर रहा था, अब मेरे पास ना प्रिपरेशन का टाइम है ना टीचिंग का टाइम है। इससे स्टूडेंट टीचर जो स्टूडेंट टीचिंग है वो अफेक्ट हो रही है सर। तो और फाइल वर्क हमको ही करना है, क्लरिकल जॉब भी हमको करना है, और डेफिनेटली हमारे प्रोफेशनल ग्रोथ तो हो रही है सर, पर्सनल हमारी ग्रोथ तो हो रही है, पर स्टूडेंट इससे अफेक्ट हो रहे हैं। हमें बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिल रहा है, नो डाउट, वो हमें आगे भी कैरियर में हमारे एडवांसमेंट मिलेगा, पर स्टूडेंट इससे अफेक्ट हो रहे हैं। तो इसके लिए सर आप कैसे एडवाइस करेंगे?
नहीं, पर आपकी अपॉइंटमेंट तो एज ए टीचर ही हुई है ना।
बिल्कुल डेफिनेटली सर, लेकिन वर्कलोड तो सर जो
टीचिंग
मिलेगा,
करने का मौका नहीं मिल रहा।
टीचिंग करने का अभी तो मौका नहीं मिल रहा है सर, अभी तो यही काम करने
नहीं,
पड़ रहे हैं जी।
ये भी एक
जी
अजीब
सर।
सी बात है कि
जी
आपको इतना बर्डन या ओवरलोडेड किया हुआ है इतनी सारी चीजों से कि यू आर नॉट एबल टू टेक योर क्लासेस।
यस,
समथिंग
क्लासेस भी है सर, क्लासेस ले रहे हैं, लेकिन वो उतना प्रिपरेशन के साथ नहीं ले पाते सर जो पहले ले
मतलब
पाते थे।
आप अपनी क्लास की टीचिंग के साथ जस्टिस नहीं कर पा रहे।
नहीं कर पा रहे सर, ये डेफिनेट है
जितनी
सर,
की आपकी कैपेबिलिटी है वो आप नहीं कर पा रहे ना, यही
नहीं
आप
कर
कहना
पाते
चाहते
सर।
हैं।
जी सर जी,
आई थिंक
डेफिनेटली
दैट्स अ
सर।
वेरी सैड स्टेट। ऐसा तो वैसे होना नहीं चाहिए, या तो फिर आपके जितनी वैकेंसीज हैं फिल नहीं की गई, या क्योंकि यूजीसी या किसी के नॉर्म्स के हिसाब से टीचर्स की अपॉइंटमेंट होती है, तो जितने टीचर्स वर्कलोड के हिसाब से होने चाहिए
जी
तो आपके यहाँ अपॉइंटमेंट नहीं हुई, जब इन द एब्सेंस ऑफ दैट सारा बर्डन आपके ऊपर,
नहीं सर,
ऑफिशियल वर्क भी
मेरे
आपके
साथ तो
ऊपर
और भी लोग हैं
नहीं
सर,
होगी।
मतलब वर्कलोड भी बढ़ रहा है सर, टीचर्स का वर्कलोड भी अभी बढ़ गया है सर, मतलब मेरा कहने का हो सकता है मैं नहीं, और भी टीचर्स ऐसा फील कर रहे हो।
किस सब्जेक्ट से हैं आप?
मैं साइकेट्रिक से सर, फील्ड ऑफ साइकेट्रिक।
No, no, I can understand, but this is very unfortunate. This should not happen. This
But
should
sir,
not.
this is the very common problem in where many institutes, sir.
क्या मतलब कि वहां पर
सर
इतना
वर्कलोड
सारा
सब जगह है
काम
सर।
अदर देन
अब सर आप
टीचिंग
ये
जुड़ा हुआ
देखिए,
है?
हमें
Other than
लोकसभा
teaching,
विधानसभा के चुनाव भी कराने
many
पड़ रहे हैं।
administrative jobs are there for teachers.
नहीं, टीचर्स को एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव जॉब देना वो तो एक नॉर्मल चीज है, पर इतना ज्यादा दे देना कि वो अपनी क्लासेस ही ना ले पाए, ये मुझे थोड़ा अजीब सा लगता
सर
Classes लेते
लोकसभा
हैं सर, but वो
विधानसभा
उतना justice नहीं
सरपंच,
कर पाते classes के
हाँ
साथ.
नहीं कर पाते सर, क्योंकि मैं कहता हूँ सर प्रिसाइडिंग ऑफिसर हम हर विधानसभा लोकसभा सरपंच जो भी चुनाव होगा टीचर को ले लो,
है।
चाहे वो असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर हो चाहे वो कोई भी फैकल्टी हो, उन्हें उससे परवाह नहीं है। तो हम लोग इन कामों में ज्यादा है, ट्रेनिंग स्कॉलरशिप आ गई तो स्कॉलरशिप पूरा देखेंगे, वो 15 दिन हमारे खराब हो जाते हैं पूरा स्कॉलरशिप। फिर टैबलेट डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन करना है तो वो यूपी में, तो उसमें 10 दिन चले जाते हैं। यही काम कर रहे हैं सर हम लोग बेसिकली।
रिवॉर्ड ऑफ गुड वर्क इज मोर वर्क, यही लग रहा है।
यस सर, डेफिनेटली।
हाँ।
और सर ये सिर्फ गवर्नमेंट कॉलेजेस के साथ प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, ये प्राइवेट कॉलेजेस के साथ भी प्रॉब्लम है। इवन हम लोगों ने 27 लेक्चर्स लिए, 30 लेक्चर्स भी लिए अपार्ट फ्रॉम एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव वर्क। और मतलब जिस तरीके से हमें लेक्चर्स डिलीवर करने चाहिए ना, मुझे लगता है हर किसी की उस तरीके से तैयारी नहीं हो पाती जिस तरीके से उसे करनी चाहिए। और फिर एपीआई स्कोर को बढ़ाने के चक्कर में उस भाग दौड़ में सभी लगे रहते हैं, और जहां कहीं ना कहीं हम जस्टिफिकेशन कर ही नहीं रहे अपने प्रोफेशन के साथ। हम चाहते हैं बट हम कर नहीं पा रहे।
नहीं, मैं
ये बड़ा
समझ।
ही मतलब हमारा एजुकेशनल सिस्टम बड़ा फेल होता नजर आ रहा है।
और आप अपनी नॉलेज को भी अप टू डेट कहाँ कर पाते होंगे, टाइम ही नहीं मिलता
कहाँ,
है।
बिल्कुल नहीं
नहीं
मिलता
मिलता
सर,
सर,
बिल्कुल
नहीं
नहीं
मिलता
मिलता,
सर,
बिल्कुल नहीं मिलता।
डेफिनेटली।
नहीं, दिस इज वेरी अनफॉर्चुनेट।
और ये अच्छे कॉलेजेस के साथ प्रॉब्लम है सर, बहुत अच्छे कॉलेजेस के साथ प्रॉब्लम है कि वो ही नहीं मिल रही है, सैलरी उस तरीके की नहीं है, लेकिन हम लोग का वर्कलोड एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव भी कर रहे हैं और टीचिंग भी कर रहे हैं, और उसके अलावा भी बहुत कुछ ऐसा है जो मैं बता भी नहीं सकती, हम वो भी करते हैं।
वो ना
आई
करो
थिंक
तो चलिए।
हाँ, कुछ सॉल्यूशन तो आई थिंक एज वी मूव टू टेक्नोलॉजी, तो जो हमारा मैनुअल वर्क ऑटोमेट, व्हाट आई फील इज नैक का इतना पेपर वर्क है,
बहुत सारा है
if
जी।
that can be streamlined with the help of
बहुत
technology
ज्यादा
in a
मैम, बहुत
regular way,
ज्यादा।
उसको structured करना चाहिए। And also you should be looking at कि पूरी इंस्टीट्यूशन में ये नहीं कि सिर्फ 5-10 लोगों को ही सारा काम मिल रहा है। दिस इज ऑल्सो हैपनिंग दैट जो काम कर रहा है तो उसी को ही काम दिया जाता है। सो आई थिंक अदर्स ऑल्सो हैव टू बी टेकिंग द प्रोफेशन वेरी सीरियसली। तो अगर वो होता है तो देन इट गेट्स इक्वली डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड। So I think we'll discuss about all these things. So many more issues coming up as we अभी तो शुरुआत है, पहला सेशन है. So we'll stop here without taking more questions because I also have to be telling you very important things. And then we'll have the next speaker also, Professor Prakash sir. So thank you so much, Professor Bakshi sir, for starting this very enlightening session, not only on the NEP and the professional front, I would say, but also on the personal front, where you have touched upon how we can individually improve upon. And more will be coming because just don't think that he has this session. There will be 3 more sessions by him, so we can interact more with sir. So thank you so much, sir. And
Thank you.
now I will be talking about some important things about this program because I could not join at 5, otherwise I would have done that. So I assume the welcome has been done by Professor Sarita. So once again, I welcome each one of you on behalf of UGC Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center at GAD-MMTTC, now called as UGC-MMTTC, and formerly most of you must have been knowing it with the name of GAD-TLC. So as you all know, and those who are new joinees, let me apprise them that our center has state-of-art facility in terms of training teachers and to equip them with the newer pedagogies, the newer technical tools where our entire team expertise is there. But apart from that, we are also pulling in resource person from entire country and providing various other programs, whether they are in the part of faculty induction program or FTPs or refresher courses, workshops, webinars, to name a few. As a team, we started work in Center for E-Learning, where we had contributed for e-content development, and we have our own studio. So anyone who looks for that, if there is a technical guidance on the consultancy basis as per ministry norm, we are there to help you out. And we have these 6 subjects which we have completed. So you can look at the content and use it in your own classroom settings. So this is on inflibnet.ac.in. We are also the largest contributor of more than 50 MOOCs now for the SWAYAM platform, out of which 42 MOOCs we have prepared only for the EPG Pathshala project. And this teacher secret I'll be talking about in my own session in detail, where you can, as a group of teachers, can come and contribute. Because when we say the newer pedagogies and how the technology can help us, so these are the models which you can create and share it to your fellow colleagues. And as per the API, the 5 API per module is admissible to this, which we certify based on the compliance with our template plagiarism thing. Since 1st April 2020, we have gone online, and I'm happy to share that more than 95,000 teachers we have touched, and the number exponentially rose after April 2020, when we ourselves went into online trainings, and we could also connect to nook and corner of our lovely country India into because many teachers could not travel to Delhi, or they cannot travel to the main destination where we used to conduct our programs, which are more connected with the air or by rail. So we also have expertise in chemistry in our core team. We have Professor Bakshi. I'm also a chemistry teacher, Professor Sarita, Professor Ved Prakash sir. And so we also have contributed in this ARPIT program since 2018, 19 and 20. This was prior to Corona. And I'm happy to share the quality of the content and the number of enrollments. They both have been rated amongst the top. And because of this massive national level effort that our team, with the help of thousands of teachers, is doing, I'm helpful to each one of them who has contributed in various projects and assignments that we have been getting opportunity to work upon. And we realize that teachers are lacking the digital skills, the hands-on skill. And this is what I'm talking about in 2013, when we were working on the project. So in 2015, GAD-TLC was given to us, and we were into trainings. And after this work, we have been now selected as one of the leading centers to be conducting the 15 lakh higher education teachers training, which is these NEP orientation and sensitization program. And we are now all called as Malviya Mission Teacher Training Centers. So this is something that all of you should know. Now, for any promotional requirement, just normal FDPs will not work. Anyhow, any training program, any learning program, if it is making you learn, it is definitely beneficial. But for the promotional requirement now, all the centers are called with a single name, that is UGC-MMTTC, or they were Pandit Madan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching Scheme centers. So out of around 99 centers, few are selected from PMMMT, but all the UGC HRDCs, which are 67 of them, have been selected. And now all of them are taking the phase 2 trainings, which is called as Malviya Mission Teacher Training Program. And the vision of this new phase is to build competencies in the faculty for better teaching, learning, and research by exposing them to Indian values, updating knowledge and skills, and aligning teaching, learning, and research with the needs of the society and NEP 2020. And as I told you now, there are now total of 116 centers as on date, and the number is actually dynamic. Those who will not be performing, they will be removed, and more can be added. So every center is conducting 2 batches of NEP every month. So in next 3 years total, we have to conduct you can see every year 24 and then multiplied by 3 programs, and every batch having around 200 teachers. So I request all of you that once you go through this program, analyze that if you feel that this is something around NEP you have gained. Working alone will be very difficult to make these changes. Bring your other fellow colleagues also, so that all of you are on the same page. And we are taking bulk registration also. If the institution approaches us, then we can reserve some seats in our upcoming batches. And we also conduct faculty induction program, FDPs, refresher programs, and many other events, also some collaborative events. And in this particular program, there are 10 modules. When the scheme was launched, we started with 8 modules, but 9th and 10th module were added later on. I was also the member of the committee who has formulated the guidelines for all the 116 such centers. So what are these modules which we'll be covering? So there will be 8 days and 2 sessions every day. But then being 10 modules, we'll be having some modules having 2, some modules having 1, and looking at the weightage and the inputs that we get from our previous batches. So holistic and multidisciplinary education, Indian knowledge system and multilingualism, academic leadership, governance and management, higher education and society, research and development, skill development, student diversity and inclusive education, ICT, autonomy to the institution and choice to the student, curriculum development, pedagogy, and assessment. So, as I told you, from 6 to 26 July, there will be 8 days online session. We are starting today. Tomorrow being off because of Muharram, we will not be having sessions. So then it will be 18th and 19th. Saturday, Sunday, again, we will be off and we'll be having next sessions on 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 26th July, all days from 5 to 8 p.m. And the quizzes for this will be held on 28th July, which happens to be a Sunday. In order to complete this program, there are very simple parameters. You have to watch the videos, these live sessions with your videos on. There will be no recording provided. So if you miss out, you have missed out, then you can complete it in our next batch. Only one more attempt will be given by us if you fail to complete, because there are so many teachers who are waiting in the line. So for a particular teacher, it will be only one more chance given as per the guidelines. So 2 pages you have to attempt, and both of them are multiple choice question based quizzes only. And apart from that, the attendance and participation, every session will be having a feedback form. Please do not miss any feedback form. And there will be 3 takeaways that you have to write. So keep on writing the important points, which will also help you in preparing for the quiz. And we will be taking the attendance from Zoom. Please join with your videos on, I repeat, and on Zoom, log in with your registered email ID or phone number and rename with your proper name. Only these are the ways. If you're using anyone else's Zoom account, please rename yourself, other your attendance will not be marked properly. So these are the 2 quizzes which we are bifurcating the different modules. So quiz 1 will be based on the live sessions of module 1, 2, 3, and 4, along with 9. And quiz 2 will be from module 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. I'll request my team to send a screenshot of this very particular thing. in your WhatsApp group. And no certificate will be provided if all the assessment parameters are not successfully completed. And if any of you have accidentally joined or someone has forwarded the mail and come to this, please, unless or until we have your name in our list, we will not be able to take you further. So you can quit this and you can join in our further batch, and you can contact our team for any missing that you have not got the mail. If you have not got, this means maybe you are kept in the waiting list. So please confirm your participation in this very particular batch. And this is the format of the certificate as per the UGC, which will be provided to you with a unique code. And before I invite Professor, can you help me out? Professor Anuja, Ved Prakash
Professor.
join कर लिए?
I'll just check.
Yeah, please check
No,
and
not
let me
yet.
know.
Not
And
yet.
one disclaimer. Let me message him.
Not yet. He hasn't, sir hasn't joined.
So before Sir joins, I'll also like to make this important disclaimer from our center point of view that any copyright, if we talk about the session, is of respective speakers only. Our center has no role in that. And at the same time, any sensitive thing, if it is talked about or something wrong information, then also our center has nothing to do. It is the responsibility of the individual speaker. And without a prior written consent of the respective speaker, please, you are requested not to use or upload or stream his or her content or the entire screenshot or the partial, because that will be taken as copyright infringement. So if you seek any information for your own purpose, you can take the screenshots and keep it with you, but do not use them in your further any of the social media or other way class. So with these, we are back on the NEP orientation and sensitization program. Here now, after the first session, we'll be having second session by Professor Ved Prakash sir, who is again one of the mentors at our center, and he's a well-known academician, former chairman, University Grants Commission. I welcome sir if he has joined. Has sir joined? Anuja, can you just tell me?
I can't see, sir. I don't think sir has joined.
Just let me call him. Yeah, he's just joining in a minute. So meanwhile, let me also introduce him. नहीं तो सर अपनी presence में कई बार मना करते हैं. So let me utilize the time right now. And Anuja, please let me know the moment he joins.
Yes.
So Professor Ved Prakash sir has more than 48 years of professional experience in policy making, teaching, research, and administration. and he has done his DLit, PhD, MSc, MEd, US Fulbright Fellow, Michigan University, CCE, PAP from HIID, Harvard University, to name a few. Professor Vedprakash sir, a distinguished name in Indian academia, has the unique distinction of spearheading the University Grants Commission, that is UGC, the apex regulator of higher education in India, as its chairman, vice chairman, and secretary for almost 15 long years. Under his stewardship, UGC had made significant strides in the areas of curricular reforms, internationalization, basic scientific research, skill education, gender and social equity in higher education, to name a few. He has to his credit the transformation of NEPA into a university, where he also served as its founder vice chancellor. In his stellar career of 48 years, he made seminal contribution as advisor education in the Planning Commission of India, chairman of National Council for Teacher Education, professor and head DEME, and especially there he conducted, he was spearheading the conduct of National Talent Search Examination and other national level examination, also into training of teachers, Joint Director, Staff Selection Commission, Government of India. A US Fulbright scholar, Professor Vedprakash sir, has been a visiting faculty at University of Windsor, Canada, a guest faculty at HIID, Harvard University, and consultant to the World Bank. He has the distinction of being an interlocutor under prestigious US International Visitor Leadership Program. He has the honor of serving as a member of jury for a notable UNESCO APID Venhui Award for Educational Innovation for 10 long years, and he represented India in numerous bilateral and multilateral forums in about 30 foreign countries. He has published extensively on a wide spectrum of areas concerning school education, higher education, education planning, and administration, and he has been conferred with many coveted awards and honors for his contribution in the field of education. We are truly honored to have him amongst him and mentoring our center, as well as all these programs. And we will be having around 3 sessions in this very particular batch by Professor Vedprakash sir. So I think sir has joined.
Sir has just joined. Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Make him co-host, please. Sir, may I request to please put on your video. Yeah, good evening, sir, and welcome.
Good evening, sir. Good
Okay,
evening, sir.
good evening. Good evening.
See, Sarita also is there.
Yeah, Sarita. Good evening, Professor Sarita.
Good evening,
So,
sir.
मैं क्या आप बाद में मना करेंगे, so we already introduced you, and although you don't need introduction, but today I acted smartly so that you could not say. So, so sir, it is really our pleasure and honor to have you taking this very particular session on higher education and society, and I think you'll also be looking at the global perspective and trying to compare and how in our country we have to be maybe introspecting and analyzing these models and taking it so that we can improve the quality in our institution as well. So over to you, sir. Welcome once again.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Vimal. And very good evening to all the participants, including Professor Sarita Pasi and Professor Chauhan and other members of your team. As Professor Vimal has said, I'm going to reflect a little about the role of the society, and then I would be providing you the global perspective, actually, insofar as higher education is concerned. That will give you some idea in which direction the higher education is going internationally. I would also be making subtle comparisons with where we stand in terms of the provisions that we have made over the years. And so I will begin by saying that society has played a very significant role in education from early times, actually. Most of the leading institutions of the world are the creation of the society. You can look into the profile of any outstanding institution and you would find that people from the society or individuals, they have made a significant contribution in the creation of those society, or sorry, those institutions, be it Harvard, which we talk very frequently because of the prestige that it has internationally, or be it Chicago, which was established by Rockefeller in 1980. Sorry, 1890. So globally, I mean, the society is known to have contributed in various ways, which could be in the form of donations from philanthropists, from alumni, or from foundations, or maybe in the form of scholarships or research grants or creation of the infrastructure or establishing chairs, etc. Initially, education was confined to teaching and learning of languages and religion and preservation of intangible assets of the nation state. The society has contributed in providing the basic structures for education, including the widespread use of structures of disciplines which we talk and which we teach in terms of chemistry, physics, geography, history, economics, languages. If you look at the role of the society, I mean, from early time, I would like to take you back to 1924, after World War I. The world leaders had assembled in the city of Geneva, and they had expressed the societal aspirations at that time. And during the Geneva Declaration, it was resolved that the nation state should provide necessary tools to the children for their natural development. I mean, look what kind of great statement that was, that you only have to provide the tools to the children for their natural development. And then the second assertion was that those who are backward should be supported by the nation states. And the third one was that the children should be put in a position where from they can make a decent living. Not much happened, but unfortunately, the world was again pushed into the second war, World War II, in 1939, which continued until 1945. And then after the end of the World War II, again, the world leaders had assembled, and this time in the city of Paris, and they came out with the universal, which is known as Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which was adopted by the UN in 1948, December 10, 1948. That was a historic moment. When keeping in mind the societal aspiration, all the countries agreed on the freedom and equality, protecting the right of every individual everywhere. I would like to draw your attention to to Article 26 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which has got three parts. I'm going to talk only about part 1. You can Google it and you can see it yourself, the part 2 and part 3, because part 1 I consider is more important for all of us who are in the teaching profession. This part 1 of Article 26, it has got 5 assertions. First is that everyone has a right to education. The second was that education shall be free at the elementary stage or at the fundamental stages of school education. And the third was that this part of education shall be compulsory. I mean, elementary education or fundamental stage of education. And the fourth assertion of that resolution is that technical and professional education shall be made generally available to all. And the fifth one, which was relating to the higher education, the resolution says that higher education shall be equally accessible to all on the basis of merit. So unlike the other sectors of education, I mean, for higher education, special emphasis was made on quality. If you carry out a dispassionate analysis of the education system of the developed economies, you can see a common pattern. And what is that common pattern? That they have evolved, I mean, their system around the stipulated assertions of Article 26. All those countries, they have universalized their school education right from pre-primary through grade 12. They have also created the outstanding system of technical and professional education. And when it comes to higher education, they have ensured that merit takes the precedence over everything else. But if we analyze our own system, I mean, we have created a very gigantic system of school education and higher education. There is no doubt about it. And we have every right to take pride in that. But the fact remains that we have been still struggling with the universalization of elementary education, let alone 12-year school education. The second thing that one can notice, if you go a little deeper into it, you would find that every class in our country happens to be a terminal class. Children leave out after grade 1, after grade 2, after grade 3. And it's not that they want to leave, but the system pushes them out because the system is not providing proper hand holding. Insofar as the technical and professional education is concerned, we have not been able to provide both to the eligible population. We are still struggling with the vocationalization of education, though we have been talking about it for a long time. And our higher education, I mean, hardly comes into the reckoning at the global level. I would like to take you to the UNESCO, actually. The UNESCO has been championing the right to education at all levels, including higher education. UNESCO believes that tuition-free public higher education is an important step in this direction. UNESCO argues that removal of tuition fees in higher education increases both the social demand and also the level of educational attainments, which is very logical. UNESCO has recently conducted a survey of 146 member states, and they have found out that there are as many as 41 countries which have already mandated free higher education by law. If you do the income group analysis of the countries, it also reveals that about 20% of the low income and lower middle income countries have mandated free higher education. The insight out of it is that it is the low income and lower middle income countries that need special global attention to provide access to free higher education. Where do we stand? I believe that the removal of tuition fee in higher education could prove to be more effective in developing economies like ours. And in fact, we have provided for long, India has had a policy of providing higher education either through public institution or through grant in aid institutions. Centrally funded higher educational institutions are still providing free higher education to the select group of students like the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and OBCs. We also have some states which are providing free higher education up to the postgraduate level for girls and socially deprived sections of their domicile. The situation in our country had changed actually drastically since 1990 with economic liberalization, privatization, and globalization. And this has led to slow but steady withdrawal of the state from higher education. The trend now manifests in public higher educational institutions as well in the form of self-financing courses. And I'm not exaggerating, but I'm making a very mild observation that cost recovery has now become a norm, then an exception, because of the withdrawal of the state support. if you look at the growth of the higher education, I mean, worldwide, sorry, excuse me. I'll call you later. The global data report shows that the past decade has seen a significant growth in enrollment, although millions around the world are still not having access to higher education. The total enrollment worldwide in higher education is 235 million, means 23.5 crore students are enrolled in higher education. And in the last, if you see the growth, or the gross enrollment ratio in higher education in the last 2.5 decades, it has increased from 19% to 40%. We have about 88,000 higher educational institutions in the world. Of them, the maximum number of higher educational institutions are in our country. We have about 56,000 higher educational institutions in the name of universities, institutions deemed to be universities, institutions of national importance, and the colleges, if you put all of them together. The second largest network is in the United States of America, which is having about 4,000 higher educational institutions. Then comes China, which is having about 3,000. Then comes Russia and the countries like UK. They have very small a number in comparison to the other institutions. If you look at the gross enrollment ratio, which means what percentage of students in the age cohort of 18 to 23, somewhere it is 23, somewhere it is 18 to 24, they go for higher education. There are countries like OECD countries wherein the gross enrollment ratio is over 75%. We are still at 28%. Though the world average is 40%, so we are way below the world average insofar as gross enrollment ratio in higher education is concerned. We have now, we have set a goal in the National Education Policy 2020 that we would like to increase the gross enrollment ratio from the current level. When the policy was declared, we had only 5% gross enrollment ratio. Now it is 28 point something. So we have set a goal that by 2035, we would like to increase the gross enrollment ratio by 50%, which means that the children in the age group of 18 to 24, every second child would be enrolled in higher education. And if given the fact that we have taken nearly 75 years to attain 28%, while now in NEP, we have envisaged that we are going to raise it to 50% in 15 years' time. That can be done, provided we use the residual capacity of our existing institutions wherein the intake is very low. We set up newer institutions in areas where the institutional density is lesser than the national average, like in the state of Jharkhand, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, and some part of West Bengal, of course. And we set up newer institutions there. And then we also take great care of the transition rates from the school education, because if the transition rate continues to be low as it is, then we will not be having, we will not be able to fulfill the goal that we have set. The another thing that I would like to share here is that we'll have to maintain the annual growth rate of 4.2% to achieve this goal of 50% gross enrollment ratio by 2035. So you will have to use, multiple means of delivery, like the open and distance learning mode of online mode of delivery, ODL mode of delivery, the conventional mode of delivery. Only then we can do that. Another important aspect which I think we need to focus upon is the gender equality in higher education. I mean, if you look at the global scenario, you would find that the gross enrollment ratio has increased at a faster pace among women than men in the last 2 decades, 2.5 decades. The gross enrollment ratio among women has increased from 19% to 43%, as compared to that of men from 19% to 37%. We can see similar trends in our country. I mean, today, if you see the All India Survey of Higher Education, you would find that the girls' gross enrollment ratio is 28.5% as against 28.4 among men, among boys, marginally. But they have, outranked the boys. Another common pattern which we see is when we look into the participation rate of women in STEM disciplines, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I mean, globally also, I mean, the women participation in STEM subjects remains 18 percentage point lesser in women than men. In our case also, if we see the participation rates of women in premier institutions like IITs or ICERs or AMS or central universities, you find that the girls' participation in premier institutions is lower, lesser than that of boys. And similarly, if you see the participation rates of girls in STEM disciplines in our country, it is the same. I mean, much lesser than that of boys. I think among other measures, what is required is that we need to lay greater focus on improving the transition rates of girls at school stage. Only then we would be able to do that. If you look at the participation rates of the physically challenged children, I mean, globally, it is estimated that we have about 1.3 billion people in the world having some form of disability. And their participation participation rates of persons with disability in higher education is half that of the persons without disability. Means if the gross enrollment ratio in higher education globally is 40%, then the gross enrollment ratio of the children with disabilities is only 20%. But I was looking into the percentage of the graduates actually. I mean, students having disability and holding bachelor's degree. I found that in countries like United States of America and Great Britain, or in some OECD countries, about 18% disabled students are holding bachelor's degree. But when we see our own standing, we find that in our country, hardly 6% disabled boys and 3% disabled girls are holding bachelor's degree. And this is primarily due to poorer transition rates of disabled children from secondary sector to post-secondary sector, and lack of support in terms of infrastructure and teaching learning materials. I think we need to pay greater attention on these parameters with a view to increasing the participation rates of the children with physical disabilities in higher education. The another important aspect is about skilling. We find that there are huge gaps between the demand and the supply. I think this is a worldwide phenomenon. This is much more in developing economies like that of ours. The fourth industrial revolution, impelled by the rapid advances in terms of, artificial intelligence, automation, robotics, and other emerging technologies. They have created skill gaps across all industries. And for this reason, actually, leading countries have been reimagining their curricular provisions and degree programs to meet the needs of the modern learner. This has brought out competency-based education, flexible learning pathways, internationalization of higher education, and all that. Apart from that, what is happening now is that because of the innovation of the information and communication technology at a very faster pace, what is happening that the world over actually, we have a category of non-traditional students. And the number of such non-traditional students is poised to keep the upward trend. These are the people, who have passed out, who have entered into the world of work, but because they want to shift their jobs or their job requirements have undergone drastic changes and they require newer skills. And therefore, these people are coming back to the campuses for the purposes of upskilling and reskilling themselves. So this is a new category, and the universities are, coming up with the newer programs for them. In our country, we are still struggling insofar as giving vocational orientation to education is concerned. We have been facing the problem like the poor status perception, ill-equipped institutions, non-availability of teaching, learning material, etc. NEP has now given a new hope. Policy has recommended that by 2025, at least 50% students both in school and higher education would be given the exposure to vocational programs. Universities need to create proper provisions for both, sets of students. If you look at the global trends in interdisciplinary teaching and learning, that is a very important aspect. This has gained a lot of momentum in the recent past. And because this approach offers significant benefits, besides preparing students for complex real-world problems, there are challenges in its implementation. We have been talking about it a lot. But unfortunately, let me share with you that though we have talked, at two places about interdisciplinary research, we have not talked about interdisciplinary teaching at all. Probably we have presumed that if we are talking about cross-disciplinary research or interdisciplinary research, I think we are covering the interdisciplinary teaching and learning as well. It requires dismantling of boundaries across the disciplines. And why it is needed? Because the world's complex problems cannot be solved by single domain of knowledge. And another interesting phenomenon which is being noticed now continuously for several years is that new knowledge lies at the intersections of these different disciplines. And which is why, the top class world universities, they are encouraging the interdisciplinary programs, because through them students are also able to establish connection between subjects, fostering a more holistic and nuanced perspective. It also inculcates and promotes generic abilities amongst the students. Leading universities are now developing thematic units, designing integrated curriculum. They are switching over to project-based learning, and they are organizing rigorous professional development programs. and resorting to team teaching by involving teachers from related disciplines in planning and delivering lessons. Indian universities have not made any significant progress in this area thus far. There are challenges, of course, when you are integrating the curriculum from diverse domains of knowledge, when you are bringing the teachers teaching, different disciplines together, when you are conceiving the common projects, there are challenges, but this is what is needed now. Another important aspect that I would like to reflect upon the role of technology in higher education. Technology has always played an important role in the society. And currently we are living in an era where technological advances are more common than anything else. In fact, there is a race going on between education and technology. And mind you that this race will continue to accelerate in times to come. Leading universities have been promoting the use of digital tools like mobile learning, digital content platform, virtual reality and augmented reality, AI writing tools and AI-powered learning, adaptive learning, automated assessment, computer adaptive testing techniques, etc. Online learning is gradually becoming more prevalent now, while some universities, leading universities, they are not offering the full degree programs in online mode, but they are complementing their conventional programs through online mode of delivery. They identify which component of the curricular provision could be delivered in online mode and which cannot be delivered. There are also companies which are partnering with the leading institutions to solve the most pressing educational needs of the modern societies. Virtual reality, and in fact, I would like to draw your attention to that, is another technology that is now being widely used in the Western universities because it enables remote students to take part in lab exercises in an online mode. We have, if we compare our system, we had started using the GSET-3 facilities to provide long distance education in 2004. Consortium of IIT and ISER and Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, actually. They had started the National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning, NPTEL. You might have heard about it. In university level STEM disciplines in 2003. UGC has also launched ePG Pathshala program in 2000 and under NME ICT and developed multiple courses at undergraduate and postgraduate level. In fact, the idea of online mode of delivery in Indian university system was mooted by the UGC in 2016, permitting universities to deliver 20% of the course content through online mode. But because of the emerging demand of the university system, UGC now has brought out and integrated regulations to enable universities to offer full-fledged online undergraduate and postgraduate programs in 2020. And they have laid down certain conditions that if the CGPA of a university is more than 3.26, or if an institution has figured in the top 100 in NIRF ranking in the 2 out of 3 preceding years, they can offer undergraduate and postgraduate programs in online mode. Others will have to take the approval from the University Grants Commission. As of now, though, there are very few universities that can honestly fulfill all technical, academic, and social requirements of full-fledged online degree programs. I think we need to work a lot on this aspect. In the national education policy, we have also talked heavily about the internationalization of higher education, that we need to diversify our campuses. The number of international students has increased 3 times in the last 2 decades. About 6 million international students are there as of now. But if we see the systems, we find that it is only the United States of America which continues to be the most sought after destination for over 100 years, actually. But some new hubs have also come up in the recent past, like Australia, Canada, of course, is there. UK is also there. But recently, China and Singapore has also made great progress. They continue to attract large number of international students because of their proactive policies. But if we see, we are attracting only 47,000 international students according to the latest survey. And most of these students, they come from the neighboring countries like Nepal, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, and some from the United Arab Emirates. And there are only a couple of universities that attract international students. I think we need to work a lot to attract a greater number of international students. A little while ago, I had talked about the flexible learning pathways, actually. There are about 11 flexible learning pathways in the world. I think we have also talked about it a little. Flexible learning pathway is an umbrella concept that involves multiple well-designed learning pathways that meet the needs of diverse students. As the name suggests, it enables students to customize what do they want to learn, how do they want to learn, when do they want to learn, and where would they like to learn. A flexible learning pathway policy frameworks have proved that they have widened the participation. They provide better responsiveness to diverse students' needs. They have improved the general level of education in the society. They have also increased the completion of studies, and they have helped in career progression as well. I mean, historically, our system suffers from rigidity in terms of curricular provisions, time, and space. And now we have introduced the policy of multiple entry and multiple exit options are there now, which is very much required. Because the students not only want multiple entry and multiple exit options, they also want freedom to choose, actually. What would they like to study, and how would they like to study, and when would they like to study, and where would they like to study. We have now brought out, keeping that in mind, couple of frameworks like the National Higher Education Qualification Framework, National Credit Framework. We have now the Academic Bank of Credit. We have also the National Skill Qualification Framework. We have also laid down the national occupational standards insofar as the vocational programs are concerned. But I believe that it might take a while before they get institutionalized. But we cannot escape if we are truly to internationalize the higher education. Another important aspect about higher education is the quality. Quality in higher education is a multi-dimensional, multi-level, and dynamic concept that relates to the contextual settings. Worldwide, there are about more than 300 quality assurance bodies which are operating. These bodies are laying greater emphasis on qualification frameworks. We have also set up our own system of internal quality assurance to set quality benchmarks. We have national level accrediting bodies like NAC and NBA. NAC does institutional accreditation, NBA does program accreditation. Apart from that, now we also have National Institutional Ranking Framework since 2015. You may be familiar with all that. But I would like to say something about global ranking in higher education. We cannot ignore it, actually. We can't turn a blind eye. Though the parameters which are employed by the global ranking agencies, some of them do not fit in our own context, like the number of international students, international number of, faculty, then employers' reputation and those kinds of things. But lately, our universities and institutions have also started participating in global ranking. But one of the concerns which is raised time and again, by the political executives and the bureaucracy, that our institutions are not figuring in global ranking. I was looking into the QS Global Ranking 2025. You will find that, worldwide, about 1,500 universities had participated from about 100 countries. And of the top 10 universities in QS ranking, I'm talking about the QS ranking, 4 are from the United States of America, 4 from Great Britain, 1 from, excuse me, Switzerland, and 1 from Singapore. If you go a little further, if we look at top 100 universities, we find that, again, it is the United States of America, which captures the 8th position. 24 of them are in top 100, 15 are from UK. And interestingly, 5 universities among the top 100 are from China, 5 from Canada, and 4 each from places like Germany, Hong Kong, and South Korea. And let me tell you that when we got independence in 1947, about 50 countries also got independence around that time. South Korea, if you compare South Korea with us, the South Korea was standing on identical parameters with us, actually, in terms of everything relating to education. But see, now 4 universities from South Korea has figured in the top 100. From our country, about 90 institutions and Indian and universities put together had participated in QS ranking. And we found that it is only the IIT Delhi which got 150th rank. Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, which is a research-intensive institution of ours, it got 211th rank. And the rest of the institutions, including IITs or central universities, they are way below. Some of them which have competed, in fact, fall in the category of 900 to 1,500. Let me also talk about the global research trends, and then I will stop. Universities, of course, have the dual responsibilities. On the one hand, they have to serve the local needs, and on the other hand, they have to address the global concerns. Modern societies need greater number of research universities now. In fact, we have also in our policy said that we are going to have 3 sets of institutions. One would be research-intensive universities, another would be teaching-intensive universities, and the third would be autonomous colleges with degree awarding powers. The world's requirement is growing for interdisciplinary research to solve complex problems, as I had said earlier. The trend for interdisciplinary research is growing, as I had said earlier, because new knowledge lies at the intersections of different disciplines. And it is evident from the fact that most of the Nobel Prizes, given in the past 1 or 2 decades, you find that they have been won by those who defied the specific boundaries of disciplines. So, interdisciplinary research is becoming increasingly important in tackling multifaceted issues in science and humanities and social sciences. Though there are significant challenges to its implementation, but there are potential benefits in terms of innovations, comprehensive understanding, and real-world impact. Interdisciplinary research involves the integration of methods, theories, and concepts from multiple disciplines. Sometimes you find it difficult actually because you are bringing two disciplines or three disciplines or more than three disciplines together. The terminology might vary, the theories might vary, the methods might vary. So, I mean, it is a complex thing, but it is a doable proposition. And problems like climate change, public health, renewable energy, cyber security, sustainable development, they cannot be addressed by single discipline. This can be done only through interdisciplinary research. And while most of the leading universities have already moved towards interdisciplinary research, Indian universities are still pursuing discipline-specific research. If you look at the status of research in some of the leading countries and our own country, we find that US publishes about 700,000 academic papers per year. The share of US universities in global research turns out to be 17%. But mind you that the US is spending 3.46% of its GDP on research. UK is also spending more than 2.5% of its GDP on research. But the volume of research emanating from UK is much lesser because that is a smaller country. Interestingly, China is on the top, actually. China is publishing about 1 million research papers annually. And the share of Chinese research in, research in global research is 19%. That is the highest. And but China is spending, I think 2.5 or 2.48% of its GDP on research and development. If we look at our own system, we find that we hardly have 10% institutions of higher learning which can be considered as research-intensive institutions. We are publishing about 275,000 research papers annually. Our share in global research is about 8%. And you will be shocked to know that we are spending only 0.65% of our GDP on research and development. I think we need to invest much more to increase our standing at global level in terms of both volume and quality of research. Now, let me come down to say something about the way forward what is the way forward in the next 7 or 8 minutes, actually. By now, you would have realized that higher education has undergone significant shifts. And with rapidly changing landscape, the public sentiments about the value of higher education provided by most of the institutions is also shifting. People are asking insightful questions for which we have very weak answers. People are looking for answers, how higher education is going to respond to skill requirements, how higher education is going to mitigate the employment problems, how higher education is going to address the issues arising due to automation, globalization, and emerging technologies. There are multiple challenges insofar as our system is concerned. We have an acute shortage of faculty. We have still the equity issues. The cost is rising. We also have the problem of the internal recoveries. We also see that in some of the disciplines, the enrollment is declining. a demand for high opportunity programs is there, but the universities are not coming up with the high opportunity programs. The quality of research and the volume of research is also not up to the mark. There are some professions now which are showing a surge in job demand, while others are shrinking. And therefore, the problem, the challenge before the Indian educational leaders is to make sure that how are they going to anticipate the trends and coming up with the high opportunity programs which would be required by the modern world. And at the same time, in disciplines where the enrollment is declining, how are they going to maintain the level of those disciplines, because those disciplines are also equally important, like the enrollment in humanities and social sciences and languages. If we continue to run after the programs relating to the information and communication technology, automation, virtual reality, virtual augmented reality, and artificial intelligence, and allow disciplines like humanities and social sciences and languages, we will become a very weak society. That is the biggest challenge that we have now before us. And all this needs to be done from micro level to macro level. Therefore, the key lies in continuous adaptation and evolution of educational offerings. It would, of course, require a dynamic approach in this ever-evolving economic landscape with the full support of the government and full support of the society, actually. We need greater resources. We need to put higher education in particular and education in general on the priority agenda. Only then we would be able to compete in this fiercely competitive world. Otherwise, we would only be transmitting the knowledge that would be created elsewhere. We would only be transmitting and certifying that knowledge, but that should not be the job of the institutions of higher learning. An institution of higher learning is duty bound, is obliged to be to creating a new knowledge, besides transmitting knowledge and certifying knowledge. So all this, I thought that I would like to share with you. I think I will leave 10-15 minutes or 20 minutes time to answer the questions. You may be having some questions relating to what all I have shared with you. I have tried to give you some idea about the global trends in terms of the programs, in terms of the diversification of campuses, in terms of research, in terms of funding, and in terms of the equity and issues pertaining to gender participation, etc. So that's all. So now it's over to you, Professor Rita, if you are there, or
Yes, yes, sir.
Professor.
Yeah, I think we can ask participants to put forward some queries and questions, whatever coming in their mind. So, dear participants, you can raise your queries now. You can share the thoughts.
You can also make observations if you do not have a specific question, but if you have any specific question, I would try to answer to that. There are enormous challenges, in higher education, and I'm surprised how come you may not be having questions. You must be having.
It says you have provided very deep insights, so it requires some dwelling into their thoughts and then coming up with some kind of queries. And how you relate to in your day-to-day studies and all, whatever you have heard today. So wherever you relate to that also you can share. So
I think that this is the dinner time for them.
anybody would like to share?
They must be feeling hungry, eh? Oh. Okay.
Somebody is saying session was great. So you want to ask Dr. Rekha? You can unmute or ask yourself. I think she's writing, do you see difference in perception towards private versus government organization in terms of funding opportunities in India? When it
Yes.
comes to collaboration, it is more easy with international than at national level.
Yes, I mean, that is there in the private sector. There are hardly any university which is investing into research and development, though they are coming up with high opportunity programs because they are more remunerative than the conventional programs like teaching of language and humanities and social sciences, and which is why they are coming up with the programs which are market oriented programs. So that is the issue. But insofar as funding is concerned, I think private institutions are not receiving financial grants from some of the organizations because of the policies of the government, unlike in the Western world. In the Western world, if you see the US universities, be it University of California at Berkeley, which is a public university, or be it Stanford, which is right there in the neighborhood of Berkeley, they do not make distinction between a private university or a public university when it comes to financing of research. Whereas we have that kind of discrimination in our country. That is the issue. Private universities have the advantage that they can increase the internal recovery. They can mobilize more resources as compared to that of the public universities. Public universities are not permitted to increase the internal recovery beyond a point, but they are also not receiving adequate financial assistance from the central government or from the state government. Let me give you an example. Actually, when I was with the working for the University Grants Commission in 2016. I had made a comparison of one of our research intensive universities with that of a research intensive universities of the United States of America. And I tried to balance certain parameters. For instance, my university was offering only the postgraduate and the research programs. Our university, had 5,000 students and a faculty of 415, if I remember it correctly. And we were providing 280 crores annually to this university from the University Grants Commission because it was the responsibility of the University Grants Commission. And this university was more.
It's hanged or? We are not able to hear you. Who is there? Shrutika or somebody? Can you connect, call sir directly and ask? I think some network issue is there. Participants, you can write your queries in the chat box meanwhile. So whatever it's an opportunity to discuss with the and get answered your queries. And especially at how the education, higher education is related with the society. And according what you have heard today, so how you relate to your experiences in your teaching subjects and what you find in relation to that, so that you can share. And how actually you relate to the kind of problems were discussed, what is actually required in today in higher studies, like employment problems are to be addressed, gender equity problems, issues are there, then cost is rising, internal recoveries, so many problems are there.
Professor Johan, I'm so sorry. I mean, there was some issue.
Now we can hear you. It was, it has gone. What is this white screen? Is it white screen everybody is able to see? Somebody said open.
Yes, ma'am.
Please close it. I think somebody is sharing the screen. Okay. Yes, sir. Please, you can continue.
Yeah. So if there are questions, I can take. There was some issue with my, internet.
Somebody is asking, NEP has given a new hope.
Yes.
Do you really think that?
Yes, yes.
It's
There's no
full
doubt
of
about it.
opportunities I see in NEP.
I mean, it is a
promising.
very well articulated document. There is no doubt about it. But there are challenges. For instance, increasing the gross enrollment ratio from the current level to 50% by 2035. Converting 56,000 higher educational institutions into 3 categories. See what would happen in the country. I mean, if all 49,000 colleges are given the power to award degrees, how are we going to ensure the parity in academic standards unless we come up with some kind of a framework? So there are challenges. I mean, insofar as some of our intents are concerned, which we have expressed in the policy. But all policies, they have their own limitations. Many a time we make certain recommendations just for the sake of making recommendations. And interestingly, such recommendations also get implemented. But we also make certain recommendations knowing it fully well that neither there will be a political will, nor there would be resources to translate those intents into reality. This happens. If you analyze the earlier policies of 1968, 1986, revised one of 1992, this is what happens. Otherwise, I mean, why do we keep reiterating and endorsing the recommendations which we have been making since the time of 1949? I mean, when we set up the first commission soon after independence under the chairmanship of Dr. Radhakrishnan, University Education Commission, we are still reiterating some of those recommendations. Which is why in my closing remarks, I have said that we need to put education on the priority list. Recently, I mean, we have had elections, general elections. Look into the manifesto of all the political parties. Education was not a subject of discourse, which is so very unfortunate. I mean, we cannot become a vibrant economy or a great nation. I mean, without empowering, you have the advantage that unlike the Western world, that you have such a humongous human resources. I mean, the Western world is facing a crisis now. The net reproductive rate is declining very fast in those countries. They need more skilled resources to look after their aged population. And here is an opportunity. I mean, we have been talking about the demographic dividend for quite some time, but we have not been able to provide vocational orientation to education, despite our repeated recommendations right from Modaliar Commission of 1953. Because the public perception about the vocational education is so poor in our country. We have not been able to create teaching learning material in all the regional languages. We have not been able to provide proper orientation to the teachers to handle the vocational programs. We thought that the regular teachers will handle without any proper orientation. So, I mean, there are issues relating to that. Of course, I mean, we are a very gigantic system. We need greater resources. But I mean, the only time when we had expressed that kind of commitment towards education was during the 11th Five-Year Plan. When Dr. Manmohan Singh increased the size of the 11th Five-Year Plan 9.5 times more than the 10th Five-Year Plan. That kind of commitment should come now. Let us hope. You guys must put pressure through your contacts. You should write and write critically about it.
I think Deep Kalita, you wanted to ask same kind of question. I think it is answered. Will the NEP parameters meet the demand supply gap in future? So
provided we put in adequate resources. We need to make structural changes. We need to make programmatic changes. We also need to make regulatory changes. I mean, we have to marry these three aspects. Only then we can bring about qualitative improvement in education.
Mohit Swadia,
and one thing that I would like to tell you, I would earnestly advise all of you to look into the profile of the leading institutions of the world and see what kind of programs have they added in the recent past. What kind of approaches they are employing for the effective transaction of their existing curricular provisions. What kind of assessment tools are they employing for assessing the potential of individual learner? What kind of flexible learning pathways they have come up with, and why have they come up with those kinds of flexible learning pathways? What are the advantages of that? And then you see it for yourself. What is that you can transfer or you can emulate in your own institution? You cannot emulate everything out of Harvard, actually. I mean, if you look at Harvard, Harvard is the only university which has bagged as many as 151 Nobel Prizes thus far, since 1903 until this day. And the second university again comes from the same country, United States of America, that is the Columbia University, which has bagged 101. So I'm not saying that we are going to, I mean, match with those institutions, but there are certain good things which can be emulated, which can be transferred transferring of those, though, is not that easy. I'll give you the example of the University of California has got, I think, 10 or 11 campuses. But the culture of the University of California at Berkeley is such that they have not been able to transfer the culture of Berkeley to the other off campuses. So it's a difficult task, but they have made sincere attempts, and some of their centers are doing, some of their campuses are doing very well. For instance, the University of California at Irvine, they are doing exceedingly well. Davis is also doing very well. So my point to you is that you should study the profile of the leading institutions. That will give you some insight. That will help you as an individual. That will help you as an individual institution. That will help you as a provincial government or as a national government. I think we need to learn. In the University Grants Commission, we had started several new initiatives at that time. We were collaborating with the foreign institutions in Israel, in United States of America, under Obama Singh New Knowledge Initiative, with Australia, with the UK under UK rearrangement. And people from our country had come up with very outstanding collaborative projects. I do not know, I mean, what is the present status? I think we need to collaborate. In today's world, you alone cannot solve the complex problems of the world. For instance, climate change is a very complex problem. It involves geography, it involves history, it involves science, it involves engineering and technology, it involves everything actually, economics. And which is why there is a need that we need to dissolve the boundaries between the disciplines now. And that is what these leading institutions are doing. Okay, Professor Chauhan?
Yes, some
Can
more
I be-
similar kind of questions, I think, are there. If you would like to take. Mohit Swadia, can you ask yourself your question?
गुड इवनिंग सर। मैं सर गुजरात से बिलोंग करता हूँ और
जी
हमारे
हाँ।
वहाँ पे सर इंडस्ट्रीज जो है वो मेनली फार्मा इंडस्ट्रीज ज्यादा है, ठीक है।
हाँ।
अभी सर एनईपी के स्ट्रक्चर के हिसाब से क्या सर आपको लगता है कि बच्चे जो हैं, जो अभी जो पुरानी ट्रेडिशनल सिस्टम जो है वहाँ पे कोर केमिस्ट्री पढ़ाया जाता था, फार्मास्यूटिकल केमिस्ट्री वगैरह, अभी ये एनईपी सिस्टम में केमिस्ट्री के 2 मेजर पेपर्स हैं बैचलर्स डिग्री में, एक माइनर है, एक आईकेएस है, तो सर क्या आपको लगता है कि बच्चे इंडस्ट्रीज जो हैं वो इनको एब्सॉर्ब करेगी? क्योंकि मेरे हिसाब से सर वो सब फुल सिलेबस जो है वो नहीं आ रहा है अभी बच्चों को।
देखिए,
तो शायद
मोहित, एनईपी ने कोई सिलेबस नहीं बनाया।
नो बट सर
एनईपी
स्ट्रक्चर जो है
नहीं, NEP has given you the structural framework. NEP has provided you the programmatic framework.
Right, sir.
It is the wisdom of the individual university within those structural framework and the programmatic framework. What kind of programs would you like to conceive, keeping in view the recent trends? Okay. So NEP ने नहीं कहा है कि आपको ये पढ़ाना है और ये नहीं पढ़ाना है। कहाँ कहा है ये? 17 पेजेस हैं, उसमें पढ़ के तो देखो जरा आप।
No sir, I am referring to the framework actually.
Yes.
Sir,
in the framework where the NEP has talked about it.
No sir, जो सब्जेक्ट का जो रिसर्चरिंग जो किया गया है, जैसे कि आईकेएस पढ़ाओ या फिर वीएससी पढ़ाओ, तो सर मेरे ख्याल से इंडस्ट्रीज को ये सब नहीं चाहिए। इंडस्ट्रीज को जो कोर नॉलेज है, जो प्रैक्टिकल नॉलेज है वो चाहिए। तो शायद अगर ये सब सब्जेक्ट
उसमें मोहित आप ये कर सकते हो कि when you are designing your curriculum, when you are prescribing your syllabi, it would be good on your part to involve the people from the industry so that you can know what are their requirements. Unfortunately, what has happened in our system is that we do not know what are the requirements of the industry. Industry does not know what is happening on our campuses. We do not have that kind of collaboration actually. This is one lesson which we need to learn from the Western world. That is what they have done, and which is why they have come up with the high opportunity programs. But they are not letting the humanities and social sciences and languages to disappear. They are equally important, and which is why they talk about interdisciplinary approach. And I will not detain you for long because it is the late evening for you. But let me tell you, if I have to teach photosynthesis as a unit, I can teach photosynthesis from the point of view of biological process, from the point of view of chemistry, from the point of view of physics, from the point of view of language, from the point of view of art, and from the point of view of agriculture, and also from the point of view of geography. That is what means interdisciplinary approach. Okay. So this is what is needed. We have been talking about it, but we have not made much headway. So to answer to your question, I mean, once again, I would advise you to associate people from the industry whilst designing your curriculum and prescribing your syllabi. There's a distinction between the curriculum and syllabus. Okay, so you can involve people from there, so that I mean you can churn out children who could be employed in those industries actually.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Okay, Professor Johan.
okay. So sir will be getting some more sessions. So I think
yeah, but
that
they
time
can
the
do is
queries can be
I'm
Hello.
going. Yes, please.
yes.
फर्स्टली सर सेशन आपका बहुत अच्छा था, इंफॉर्मेटिव था, इंसाइटफुल रहा. वी आर नॉट सेइंग कि एनईपी में कोई प्रॉब्लम है या कुछ भी है, बट एट इम्प्लीमेंटेशन लेवल पे यहाँ बहुत सारे लूप होल्स है. यूनिवर्सिटी की अगर मैं बात करूँ सर, इस तरीके से सिलेबस डिजाइन ही नहीं किया गया है जिससे कि बच्चों को हेल्प हो, या माइनर और एमडीसी इस तरीके से नहीं डिजाइन किए गए हैं जिससे बहुत हेल्पफुल हो बच्चों के लिए. रिसोर्सेस नहीं है, टीचर्स नहीं है हमारे पास उस तरीके से, तो हम लोग जबरदस्ती स्टूडेंट्स को जो सब्जेक्ट्स ऑप्ट करने के लिए मजबूर कर रहे हैं. आई थिंक इस तरीके की अगर हम स्ट्रेटजीज फॉलो कर रहे हैं कॉलेज लेवल या यूनिवर्सिटी लेवल, तो एनईपी इस तरीके से फेल होती हुई नजर आ रही है, जो ये मेरी ऑब्जर्वेशन कहती है. और मुझे लगता है ऑल ओवर इंडिया में हर जगह ये प्रॉब्लम तो होगी इस तरीके की.
प्रोफेसर रचना जी,
या सर,
my advice to you would be कि under the present circumstances, what best can we do as teachers, वो हम लोगों को करना चाहिए. We can't continue to keep lamenting or cribbing all the time. जिस तरीके की भी circumstances हैं, उन circumstances में what best can we do, we should do that. We must make sincere efforts. मेरे कहने से, आपके कहने से, we are not going to spend 3% or 4% of the GDP on research and development. We are not going to spend more than 6% of the GDP on education. लेकिन लोग कह तो रही हैं. I think we will someday. I mean, I gave you the example of South Korea actually. Absolutely identical issues we had with that of with South Korea in 1960. Yeah, if I'm not wrong, in 1955 or 60. But see, I mean, South Korea. Ab usme somebody can say, how can you compare South Korea? South Korea is such a small such a small state. We are such a big country of 144 crore people, but they have done it with the limited resources. And I mean, if the South, 4 universities of South Korea are figuring in the top 100 universities in the QS ranking 2025, you see the list. So I think that is a signal for us that we must tighten our belt and we must mobilize resources and invest more on it, rather than on putting up big hoardings all over the city.
And, every journey starts with few steps. So this NEP orientation program is also in that direction.
NEP is a beautiful document. Let me tell you. I'm not saying it because I had also contributed to that, but it's a very outstanding document. Of course, I mean, some of the intents are difficult ones, but this is what is done in the policies actually, because you have to raise the bar, and that is what is done. But if that is supported through the resources, I think we can improve a lot insofar as our school education is concerned and higher education is concerned. And let me also tell you one thing more to all of you. You are all young boys and girls. Unfortunately, in our country, all the 3 sectors have been working in isolation. Elementary sector, secondary education, secondary sector, and the tertiary sector. They are working in isolation. I mean, you as a member of the post-secondary sector, which is called tertiary sector, I mean, do not care for the secondary sector, which is the feeder cadre. And this is what was warned by Kothari Commission in 1966. That if you continue to work in isolation, none of the sectors is going to yield desired results. And that is what is happening. Chaliye.
Yes, sir. So
Okay.
one of the quotation was shared today, the direction is very important rather than the speed. So direction, I think right kind of direction is being provided by the NEP program. So if that is understood, then speed will also increase with time.
Yes.
So I think we can conclude here.
Okay, Prasyan, thank you very much. And I wish everyone all the very best and great good luck.
Yeah, sir. I would like to
good night to everyone.
Vote of thanks on behalf of NEP organizing
It's
team
okay.
for today's
It's okay.
very insightful session on this overview of NEP, higher education and society, and delivered by our esteemed speaker, Professor Ved Prakash sir. So I think this kind of a comprehensive analysis of the NEP 2020 coupled with its implication for higher education and society has provided us with a kind of quite understanding of the path ahead. And the thoughts on how NEP 2020 aims to bring transformative changes in the education sector and society at large were very quite particularly enlightening. So we are very grateful for this very deep, insightful session and very enlightening session. And I would also like to extend my gratitude for everyone who are contributing in terms of questions and sharing their thoughts and problems. So I thank all the participants also for their active involvement and engaging questions. So once again, thank you, Professor Ved Prakash sir, for your invaluable contribution.
Thank you.
And setting the stage for the whole orientation program. Such a thoughtful, I think it has provoked everybody.
Okay, can I leave?
The very beginning. and start.
All right. Thank you very much. Good night once again to everyone.
Okay. Good night, everyone. Thank you, sir, very much. Participants, so I think this is the first day of the NEP program, and all the best for the next coming days. And I think you can set yourself for the next programs and fill up the feedback forms. They have been provided to you. All the best and good night, good evening, and have a good dinner and come prepared for the next session next day.
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, I want to ask one thing.
Yeah.
Ma'am, actually, there was some network issue in between. I could not listen about the quiz and the assessments.
Assessment quizzes, that will be provided in your WhatsApp group also. This kind of information you can always ask, put up questions there.
Okay, sure. Thank you, ma'am.
It's the first day, so some more information has been provided, but you will be getting more information in your group also, WhatsApp group also. So
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.